It's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We are going to take a roll call. We have
Roger Gullion, Commissioner, District 3.
Jeff Vols, Commissioner for District 2.
and then Mark Horstman, District 1. Thank you. We also have Amy Copeland, the county auditor, and John Ertl as our county attorney here this morning. So, all right, let's all get started. First on the agenda is Craig with maintenance.
Morning.
Morning, Craig.
Don't have much for you today. I did go back and get quotes again from Zimmer Tractor and Stones, so everything was apples on the Kubota. With Zimmer's, with the hydraulic angle, find the price there. The total for that one is $27,732. And then for Stones, it is $27,490. The only difference in them now is the brand of the blade. Stones does Boss blade, Kubota does their Kubota blade.
So do they have a warranty? Are they the same exact warranty?
That I don't know.
Okay.
On the blade,
I'm talking on the whole machine.
I do know Stones does carry a warranty on it. I forgot to have them send me that information.
Okay. I don't probably think we probably need to pay for any type of extended warranty. Would you think? I mean, that's
I
what
would
you
hope
got.
not, no.
But yeah, I just kind of want to make sure that they have the same exact warranty.
I'd say get that information, and I guess then we'll decide what we're going to do.
Yep.
So the big thing on this is just have it before snow starts hitting. So we got a month or two to, does that sound reasonable to you guys? Kind of table this until we get that information, and maybe next month, or one day next month, we can make the decision on what we're going to do?
yeah, that's fine. Are they available in stock?
The only thing I think they may have to wait on is the blade. So
Okay.
I don't think they carry those in stock.
Now, the differences in the blades, is one better than the other, in your opinion, or is it?
My opinion, the Boss blade, it's a lot more commercial grade. It can take a little bit of abuse running into a lot more stuff. Not to say that the Kubota blade ain't. I do think the Kubota blade's held up pretty good and everything. But from a commercial standpoint, for a lot of pushing and wear and tear.
Can we just get the price on the blades themselves so we can compare the difference? What do you think, Roger?
Yeah, so that might be why there's a price difference there. Yeah, I'm not sure. Or either that or the machine by itself, without the blade, without the actual price of that blade, that's a different price. Or a different name.
So the prices on just the Kubota itself for Zimmer tractor is $24,194, and with Stones it's an even $25.
But is there any installation that's associated with putting the blade on it?
I'm sure it has to have mounting brackets or something.
Yeah, they'll install it. It's all included in the price that they give me. It's them setting it up, even with Zimmer and Stones. Once they get everything, they'll hook it up for this platform.
Yeah, I'm fine with waiting and getting that information.
Yeah, just make sure the warranty's all apples to apples, and then we can make a decision on it next month.
I agree.
I mean, we're only talking a couple $100 what, $300,
Yeah.
$250 difference between the two.
And the price of the blade is different. You're looking at close to $1,000 difference in blade brands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, well, we will table that till next month.
I just probably, I mean, I'm just trying to think a way to be fair. We're probably going to need a price for the, being as we're going with a blade that's a different brand than what Zimmer is quoting us. We probably need to make sure, probably go with the machine itself that's the same exact, to look at that quote, and then we can look at the price of the blade separately. Do you agree with that, or I don't know how we need to go about handling that? I mean, I know we want to go with the lowest bid, but technically, when we go with this other brand of blade, we're not going with the same equipment.
Can Stones give the same price on the Kubota blade?
I asked them,
They don't.
they only deal with Boss blades.
Yeah.
Because with the
But they can't get a
Kubota,
price? I mean, I know they're not dealing with, but can they get a
I
price?
asked them, they
Okay.
said they just deal with the Boss
Okay.
blades.
They must be a dealer for the Boss blade, which
Yeah.
makes them to where they can't, yeah.
Gotcha.
Boss blade is, mainly the difference is, I think if I'm right, Kubota is a pin hookup, and the Boss is you pull up to it, flip a switch, it locks it in
Okay.
itself.
Okay, yeah, that sounds, I mean, yeah. That's
I
all.
mean, honestly, we could pick whoever we want to buy
Okay,
it from.
all right.
You know,
How about the service work? How good, can we get something that replies Zimmerman's mechanical work compared to Stones's and see who's been doing a good job or not on making things good? Because I know we ran into an issue with the highway department with the new tractor and bush hog. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. With Zimmerman's, yeah, we had an issue. That's why we wasn't getting our bush hogging done as well.
it was something to do with like the
There was a cover.
diamond arm that we buy did not, the Zimmer did not upgrade the tire wheels or something. So when, all that weight's on one side, so they were busting the tire off. Is that what you're talking?
I'm referring to the windshield getting busted because there wasn't a cover on the access hole to change blades. And the way I take it, I don't know if they made it good, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to.
Well, if we're looking, I mean, honestly, at this point, it looks to me like the best deal would be to go with the Stones anyway, because that's the blade that you want that has the automatic hookup. It's only $250, basically $250 higher. So, I mean, I don't know anything, you want to try to find out something on Stone's work? I mean, we kind of already know a little bit about what Zimmerman's
I
doing.
personally know they're good.
Okay, so I'd say
They
probably,
are
I
a
don't
very
think.
good family to deal with,
Okay.
but that's my opinion.
I would just get the warranty
Yeah,
information.
just make sure they got the same warranty, and then I think that, in my opinion, that's probably enough information to make the decision next month.
That'd be
Sounds
fine.
good.
Yep. The only other thing I have is the list I sent out.
Craig, you're gonna have to speak into the
Oh, sorry.
microphone, because I'm getting reports that they cannot hear us. So you guys are going, and I have all of them on, so you guys are gonna have to speak into the microphone a little better.
I moved it up a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mark, probably not you. You're already,
I'll scoot it back then. It's not the first time in my life I've been told that.
With the list for stuff being hung on the walls on the prosecutor's area, all I have really left on the list is shelves previous to construction, picture and conference room on the first floor, shelves on the third floor, and the pictures and diplomas in the mirror. So I told them, basically anything that can be hung with the command strip without putting a hole in the wall, as long as you guys agree with it, they can hang their diplomas and stuff like that by themselves, as long as you guys are all right with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
in their offices, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a department that doesn't, if it's the prosecutor's office, he's been there for quite some time. He wants his diploma hung up.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
don't have a
fine,
problem.
but
Yeah.
it's just, that's this way, there's no hole.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea behind hanging anything up over there. If you cannot put holes in the wall and find a way to do it, then honestly, I care what gets put up in public areas, but if it's in a private office and it's not putting holes in the wall, I'm not concerned about that.
I agree.
Yeah.
In the shelves, do we need to make a call on the shelves?
Yeah, I knew there was a thing about that, and I asked them about it, and they sent me, I think I just deleted one of them trying to open it, but they were there previous to construction, and the shelves are due to a limited desk space and more space for files, folders, and code books and other office stuff. So as long as you guys are approved.
And they were there before?
They were
and
there
got-
before. I had them stuck underneath there, then they got put in a pile to dispose of. So
So are they in their side, or are they out in the public?
it's in their side.
Yeah, I think it's fine then, put them back.
Yeah. I'm all right with that, because they were there before.
Are they putting the same amount back or more?
I think there was 3 or 4 there, and I think they said they have 2.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That'd be fine.
Does that take care of all that over there? Any outstanding requests?
Well, there is outstanding requests, but I'm kind of waiting on the signs to be put up because we don't want nothing to interfere with making sure those are all ADA compliant, because they do have the braille on it.
Do we have a timeline for when the signage is going to be done?
They said 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay. I mean, I haven't heard of anybody complain as of
Right.
yet. I mean, they know that we're working on it, so,
So we're down to 3 weeks right now.
okay.
And they are going to be, Green Sign's going to be showing up Wednesday to look at, give me some pricings for exterior signage. So I don't know what you guys would recommend to put on the outside signs, because I know we've got the metal ones over there with the concrete block on the bottom of it that has no firearms and stuff like that.
I mean, I would like to see nice signs put
Yeah,
out
and then the
there.
one on the far end where it says, to go to the
Yeah.
other end, I'd like to see something done there with that one,
Yeah,
so.
put one on each end, but I kind of need to know what you guys are wanting on it. You want them to kind of have the same wording on there?
Same wording,
or-
just, to me, it's more aesthetic look and where it's placed at, If we can get away with anything on a concrete block or a tire filled
agree.
with concrete, I'm all for it.
I agree 100% with that. And then, does that also include, or did the other purchase include the bathroom signs? Like, I know when we,
I did add those on the exterior, on the previous, but it may go up in price a couple because I forgot to add the basement signs in the bathroom signs in the basement.
okay,
That was kind of on me.
okay.
Okay.
Did you meet with the scaffolding company?
Yes. They are still working on it. Since the building is occupied now, they've been out here twice to rethink to see if they can support everything off of the main structure, brick walls inside the attic. So they're still working on that. Hopefully by today or tomorrow, they'll have something figured out.
Yeah,
I think they're supposed to be here today, aren't they?
Who's that?
The company doing the tower.
No, that's the clock.
That's the clock.
Oh, well, you said tower and clock when you told me to put it on the agenda.
oh,
Clock tower.
What about the blinds? Where we at on them?
I am still waiting on a response. I'm beating them up on that because he's still waiting on a response from the blind guy.
Okay.
I'm still waiting on a response from him, and I've been calling him every day.
All right.
I've been getting hammered by that too with
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh, yeah, so am I.
Well, feel lucky, I haven't.
anything else that, I can't think of anything that's outstanding?
No?
Getting some help, has that helped you out around here? I noticed some of the weeds have been pulled around the landscaping.
I've been getting that slowly in the morning before it rains or before it gets too hot out.
Okay, whomever is mowing our grass, do they weed eat?
Yes.
Well, tell them to edge the damn sidewalks, okay? Like, the sidewalks are growing over, the weeds are growing over the sidewalks. And, I mean, if I mowed grass, I would want my finished product to look nice, and taking a weed eater and edging the sidewalks would be helpful.
Yeah, the high spots over at the courthouse, I will have to pull that netting up because it'll clog up the mower. So I'll get that up, and then they'll be knocking that down when they come back.
Okay.
So is it ready, you think it's ready to be pulled up, or you think we need to wait a little longer?
The high spots, yes, we can take that as long as they don't cut them down 2 inches from the ground. It'll be
Yeah.
all right.
I'd say for them, suck all that seed up out of the sod.
Yeah, but where it's real low, I won't pull it up. I'll leave it stay down so it has more time to grow.
All right.
Cool. And like I said, I mean, regarding the weeds over there, and I understand we've gotten a lot of rain. And it's hard to keep up on some of that, but
Yeah.
all right, any other questions for Craig?
Nope.
No?
All right, thank you. Sheriff's Department?
Good morning. Lee Davidson, the Chief Deputy for the Sheriff's Office, here on behalf of the Sheriff. We're splitting duties today because of the fair. We've got two things for you. Security Automation Systems, the company that's doing the upgrading to the camera system in the jail, came out and did their site visits and planning. And as we discussed when they originally did the contract, that they did a walkthrough for the original quote, and they told us that it may go a little over that once they do the site visit and have the engineers build the plan. So they have done that. The additional cost is, as of right now, is a $12,100 increase on the original quote of 350 something. I got it right here, if I can find it.
It was 350, was the first, wasn't it?
There was a little, 356,000 was the original quote.
And now we're up to
$368,100. There are, the included base amount was $8,400, and then they had an option one, which added an additional $3,700 to it. We're requesting that we go ahead with option one. What that does is it kind of reconfigures the control center system. Instead of having a ton of monitors, it just have larger ones and an additional computer in there. So that's where that additional cost come from. In order for them to, so the next step is if the commissioners approve this, then they will start ordering all of the equipment, building it in their shop in Indianapolis. Once it's built and all the software plan is built, then they will take several jailers up there, the jail commander up there. They'll test out the system. It'll be modeled exactly as it's going to go in here, so they'll be able to test it out, try to find bugs and stuff like that before it's actually installed. And then they'll move forward with the installation.
Is that price including a maintenance program for it?
So Security Automation Systems didn't have a maintenance program, like it has a 1-year warranty, I think is what the original warranty
1 year,
was.
okay.
And then beyond that, it's just pay as you go for the services on it.
But you don't know what that would be?
It's,
It'd be nice to know to
yeah,
plan for it.
it's just based on the hour. It depends on how much, what needs to be repaired. If they have to replace a part, and then their hourly rate, I think, was somewhere in the ballpark of 150.
But there's not a, I think is what there's not a like $5,000 a year in maintenance like
Nope.
we were
Yeah.
paying before.
No service or maintenance contract.
Upgrades and
Yeah.
all this.
We
Yeah.
pay for what we request, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of.
The additional cost, the 8,400, I can go down the list, but there's several additional cameras. They've identified blind spots and stuff like that, or they've changed it from one camera to a different type to try to get maximum view out of the cameras. So,
Okay.
exactly what we had anticipated.
I know we're within the budget that council appropriated. I mean, is there still any contingency
Yeah.
planned in, just in case if they're running wires and,
Yep.
what I'm getting at, just so we don't go above that
Yeah,
threshold.
Yeah, because
so the original,
asked for 375, wasn't it?
yeah, the original appropriation was 375,000. So we're still under that by, I'm terrible at public math. It's 368,000. We got a few thousand left.
And that how old is that old system down there? Like, is that from when
20 years
the
old,
jail remodel or the addition they did
Yeah.
back in the 90s?
Yeah,
No, it was in '03.
yeah, it opened in '03. They started in
03?
like 2001 or 2.
The year I started.
Yeah, I mean, that's 20 years, I think, it's been nickel and diming us for years, so I'm glad we finally got to this point.
Yeah.
So you need a motion then to approve the contract?
Yeah, because I have to sign it. If we
Okay, I
agree.
make a motion to approve the contract with,
Security Automation Systems.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
aye?
Aye. What's the date? 21st?
Just put approved next to that with your initials.
Yep.
Do you need a copy?
Yes.
You want me to just do it and bring it back down to you?
You can actually just take it to the office and have them make a copy and lay it on my desk.
Okay,
And
perfect.
I'll just put it in the file folder.
And the last thing I have for you is, so now that we've got the courthouse camera system up and running and people have moved back into it, we've identified an area of concern for the security portion of it. We want to move one of the cameras from the main foyer and then add one to the rear foyer of the first floor. The reason for this is, last week we had a jury trial over there, and as I was monitoring the traffic in and out, because it was a heavy traffic week with jurors and stuff like that in there, we were trying to identify someone that was in there that we believed had a warrant, and because of the angle of the cameras, we had the high angle cameras, it's really difficult to get a face shot of people in there. So we want to move the one there's 2 cameras in the foyer. We want to move the one down to just above the door that faces the entry door. So as people are walking in, we'll have that first initial shot, and then we'll add one to the backside for the same purpose, where we'd have a good face shot of each person that's coming in there. The way the system works, as long as you have one camera that gets a good view of the face, the rest of them, you can kind of match them up and stuff. So we did quotes with Total Tech. The total cost is going to be about $900 for the additional camera and the moving of the other one, and the conduit and everything. We have the money in our budget for the security, courthouse security to do so. I just need your permission to move cameras and add one over there.
And you're going to be moving them, hanging them on the wall, or are you just dropping them down?
They're currently hanging on the wall, so it would move, like the one that's in there now, it would just come down and be a little bit additional conduit to get it above the doorway. And then the backside, I believe they're going to have to probably run it from somewhere. Like they'll have to find a Cat 6.
Well, there's a
Drop.
camera on the other side of that wall in the hallway. Can they share conduits, or share wire, or not?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I would imagine they
Well,
can.
they'll figure
'cause-
it out, so.
Yeah, I would imagine they probably can, but it wasn't a significant additional cost for so for the new camera, it's like $200 for the camera, $200 for installation, and then $200 for programming through
What
Total
about,
Tech.
like, if we're moving something, I mean, would we have to get something painted? Like, is there going to be any,
Is the conduit painted now?
Some of it is. I'm not sure which one it is, but some of it's painted, and then there'll probably be something behind it that needs to be painted. But I've kind of asked Craig before on some other situations, and we have the touch-up paint. I don't think it'd be a big deal to get it touched up.
yeah, I just want to make sure we've gone this far on that project, that
Right.
now we start moving stuff around, that we don't have a spot that's painted.
Yeah.
So if we can work with Craig and make sure that that gets done, that I don't
Yeah.
necessarily have any issue with what you're asking. I just want to make sure we're not, that it's,
And that's
Painted,
kind of the same
covered up.
way with, I think, everything else I've seen Total Tech do, I mean, look pretty good. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure it's professionally done.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing, like,
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably bring anybody in to do it, but
Right,
they've
yeah.
done all this, so we're just letting them do
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Okay,
So
'cause-
I'll bet if you need a vote on this today,
I just need your permission.
right,
Yeah.
if they have to run a new wire, they're probably going to have to pop them panels in the hallway and stuff. I mean, what happens, they're pretty hard to get out from what I've watched. And
Wait.
damaging them.
As long as when the project's done, and it isn't obvious that we did it,
Which-
I can't,
Which panels are you, I'm not.
Ceiling panels.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Because they're in there pretty tight, and I watched that guy in there while the project's going, and somebody pop one up, and almost like they had to fix it every time,
I
because
gotcha.
they're in there tight.
I didn't,
So they
didn't ask
want to
that
be
specific
careful, I
detail.
guess. I don't know how much backup tiles we got, so.
okay.
While we're at it, I would like to see if we get this camera lower.
I talked to Becky about that, and to get it lower, to get rid of the monitors, you'd be down almost head height with the pole.
Really?
Yep.
And I'm not concerned about the monitors being in it. I mean, we really like to have Becky have it to where the agenda is on the monitor, so people that
I
are,
can do that, I just don't, nobody's asked for it for a long time, and nobody ever looked at it.
well, I know, but
But I can.
yeah, if you don't mind, just for the sheer fact that these monitors have been in here for how many years?
Yeah, I had Becky.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was putting them up there, it's a pain in the hiney, really, but, I mean, I can do it, but it's just nobody was ever looking at them. Nobody's ever in here.
I mean, well, I know, but with them being on camera now, then whomever's looking at it can see, you know, what we're going down on the agenda here.
I had Becky check into that, and she gave me information this morning, and I started reading, and I didn't get to finish it, but
Okay.
it's supposed to be making it simpler, whatever she's got figured out,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, sounds like you're good to go ahead with the extra cameras in the courthouse.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, go ahead.
Sounds good. Anything else for us?
You guys have anything for the sheriff's office?
No, thank you.
We'll be at the fair all week.
Yep.
See ya.
See you there?
So I'm assuming you gave him the approval to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
No, we didn't need to vote on that, correct?
I don't think so, but,
I mean,
The main reason I was asking
Yeah.
is Becky had concerns about,
Okay.
touching the wall and stuff.
Yep.
Lions Club? Not on the agenda, but we'll go ahead and fit you in, so that way,
so I apologize, I just saw your email went to my junk email, so I just saw it this morning, so I don't know if anybody else got the email or not.
I
but-
did.
I emailed
So I
all three of you.
apologize for not getting back to you, so.
It's okay. So my name's Carrie Johnson, for those of you that don't know me. I'm here with the Versailles Lions Club. I'm your new Pumpkin Show president for 2025. And I wanted to come and ask the commissioners' permission to use the courthouse and the annex for the 2025 Pumpkin Show, and to see if the courthouse would be available for the Tri-Kappa Art Show for 2025.
and the bathrooms.
And the bathrooms, yes.
And then what about this building?
If the courthouse isn't open, I don't know that we'll need this building, but that's something that, you know, we were discussing because we used this building last year because the courthouse was under construction. So ideally, if the courthouse is available, we wouldn't need this building.
Okay.
I will say that, I mean, I'm not sure if you knew this, but they did use this room during the Prince and Princess contest.
I do know that was our backup for rain, so if that is still an available backup plan, that if there is rain and issues that we can't use the stage, if we could have this as a backup plan for Prince and Princess in the,
I think this is where they got ready though, Carrie. I think
Did they get ready here?
got ready in here and everything, like rain or shine.
and see, there's a lot of new things that I'm dealing with this year that I didn't know happened last year. I know the King and Queens got ready in the town hall last year. The Prince and Princess contest is not us. That is hosted and handled by Ripley Publishing. So that's kind of not our project.
No, they
But
met down at Ripley Publishing.
Yeah, Ripley
Because Clifford
Publishing
was one
handles
of
the
the
Prince and
candidates.
Princess
No,
contest.
the King and Queens.
The King and Queens-
Got ready in here last year.
The King and Queen, that was 2 years ago when we had the rain and they came in here and they videoed from here. I know 2 years ago, they live streamed from in here.
No, but I know they got ready in here one year. I know
It
they,
would have been 2 years ago, because last year we used the town hall. We actually contracted and paid a fee to the town hall last year. That I do know. But if we could potentially have this room available as a backup plan we're not going to have weather this year is our plan, like we did last year, but as a backup, potentially, if we could ask for permission for this room as a backup plan to live stream the King and Queen contest, if, God forbid, we have horrible weather this year, that would be fantastic, because this did work out really well for that purpose
Yeah, we
2
probably
years
need to
ago.
check dates, make sure there's nothing scheduled here.
September 24th through 27th is the Pumpkin Show. King and Queen contest, give me 1 second, I can tell you. King and Queen contest should be the 24th, yep.
And that, what day of the week is that? Like a Thursday?
Wednesday.
I don't think there's any meetings.
Yeah. But now, you said something about the Tri-Cap, that's something totally different.
Tri-Kappa and Lions Club co-sponsor the art show, and in years past, they've always used the courthouse. Last year, due to the construction, it was moved to the Masonic Lodge. It's not ideal, it'll work for them, but they would like, after doing discussions with Barb Eads, which is my contact with them, they would love to have it back in the courthouse if possible, because the setup is ideal, and the location. It brings people into the square here closer to all of the functions going on, and it gives them a nice area to set up. So they asked if, when I was here today, if we could ask for permission to use the courthouse if it's available. If not, then our backup plan is the Masonic Lodge, but they would love to have it back in the courthouse again like it has been in years past.
So, I mean, one thing to be aware of is that we have a project for the bell tower to be repaired, and there's probably going to be scaffolding
In the hallways,
on the north end, or on the east end of the courthouse. So I don't know if that will affect anything. I mean, we're going to keep the courthouse open for business, so people will be able to go in and out as normal, but I just wanted you to be aware that.
I don't think that would affect it. I believe they just had this far entrance here.
Yeah.
That they came in, because I believe they blocked
Yeah.
this entrance here, and they used just the one entrance for the art show, because they were just in the hallways for the art show.
So I don't have a problem with it using, I mean, that's kind of status quo. We've done that in the past. I don't have an issue. Do we have, I know you said you're new and I'm new in this position as well.
Sure.
Do we sign any type of contract?
I don't think so, but I've been big this year, even last year, trying to do contracts, just to make sure that everybody's, even if it's not a contract, but an agreement, to say, yes, we've agreed to use the courthouse, so that way if something were to happen, there is something formal, that we've made an agreement with the commissioners, for legality purposes, I guess. I like it. I don't know if the commissioners in the county would like it too, but I think it just formalizes things and makes sure that everybody's covered legally.
Well, everything here is on record, so.
Yeah.
So my big issue is that we spent a fortune on those restrooms downstairs, and, they're going to be open to the public for the duration of the pumping.
Right, and we contract, I believe, I want to say her name's Julie, but don't quote me on that. She works for the county, and we contract her to clean the bathrooms. And so she does kind of a roving thing, and she cleans for us. And since she knows where the supplies are, and she takes care of making sure when she does that, she's monitoring any activity. Jill. Yeah, I knew it was a J. I'm not the one that writes the checks for the pumpkin show to those people,
Yeah.
so.
And I would like to have the art show back over there. I mean, there's a lot of money was spent on that building over there, and I want people to see it.
To be able to see it, yeah.
What we have done over there. So I don't have an issue. We've never had any issues in the past,
Do they hang things on the wall now?
No, we have big easels that the Lions Club brings in for Tri-Kappa, and everything is hung on the big easels.
Great, that'll work fine.
Those pegboards.
The pegboards, yeah, the big easel pegboards. Yeah, they are old.
Yeah.
We talked about getting something different, but they really do like them because they do work well.
Okay.
We need to have a vote then. I'll make a motion to let them use it for that date. for those
Second.
dates.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
And this meeting room is available, right, Amy, for if they need it?
I can't see the calendars.
Oh, you can't say, okay. We got to check that yet.
We'll go ahead and, if there's nothing going on, tentatively put that in here.
Yeah, I will. I have it on my order to look. I can't look at it.
Okay. All right, 4 minutes behind, not too bad. Jason Edwards, Ripley County Highway, Raj.
Chip and seal, we're behind because of the rain. We got 35 miles left in the south, 4.5 on gravel. Hopefully, probably start working Fridays. Get it done.
That's
Could be halfway through by now, but we're not.
yeah, fully understandable because of
Yeah,
what,
that's bad. Let's see.
Are you able to, if you ask them to come in on Fridays, like, I mean, do you have to have everybody, like, does it have to be mandatory, or can you?
I can make it mandatory, but
Yeah.
I was gonna try to take volunteers until they say, no, I can't, and then I'll make it mandatory.
Okay, yeah, because I know, I'm just saying this because you and I talked about it, but, you know, one of the advantages, a lot of them guys have other things that they do,
Right.
whether it's farming and stuff like that, and as you have other things,
Oh, yeah.
that it's nice
I
to
don't wanna be there
where,
Friday either.
but, you know, like, hey, you know, for the month of August, whomever can work these extra hours and get their comp time and whatever
Right.
for the month of August, be great, but just to be conscientious, because when I met with them guys, they really enjoyed the
Most
idea
of them
that,
will be in overtime though.
Yeah.
yeah,
Most of the highway
Oh.
guys are
Yeah.
maxed out on their comp time.
comp time.
Mhm.
Well,
The weather's
that's why it's there, and we
Yeah.
need to make hay when the sun shines, so,
I agree,
yeah,
I'm just telling
Oh,
you,
yeah.
like, most of it would be overtime.
okay. So that gives them that opportunity too.
Bridge consultant scoring's done. We got the motion to proceed with the contract for the new consultant, which is USI. As soon as I get it, I'll pass it to you. You can look at it like before.
Absolutely.
Yep, you guys don't sign it, you just approve it, then I send it back to the state. They approve it, send it back to me, I take it to you, you sign it, and then I send it back to them. Whatever. But, NDOT changed their CCMG application due date to August 1st through the 31st of this year, for next year. So we have to get that together. Usually it's January, mid-January
So they
Thank-
changed it from January to August,
to October, yeah.
October.
Yeah, they moved it way up. Went from
Yeah, go ahead.
1.5 million to only 1 million cap now. So they're phasing it out like we talked about before. Just
But we're able to still do what we've done in the past by.
not as many miles, but yeah,
Sorry?
we won't be able to do as many miles.
Yeah, I know, but right now, I know there's some changes coming up in the future, but right now, we have that full $1 million that we can
Right.
apply for.
And instead of 25%, it's only gonna be 20% that we have to come up with, so that helps.
Okay.
Let's see, we talked about Bridge 9, Cave Hill Bridge. I haven't forgot about it. I met with E&H Bridge. This is the bridge we're thinking, 24 foot by 200 foot, steel deck. Sorry, I didn't bring that song.
Yeah.
So you can pass them around if you want to. Yeah, the bridge alone is 497,000 for the bridge. Our guys would do the abutments on both ends. We'd have to hire out the concrete work in the center because the piers are 32 foot tall.
And you're wanting to replace it with a steel bridge, is that correct?
Get that
So it's
to
gonna
me.
double the
Can you do
width.
that?
And how much was that for, I'm sorry?
497,000 and some change. I just rounded up. Concrete works were only 150,000 for them guys to come in for the piers and us do the embankments. With the geotech, we should be less than 900,000 completely done. That's backfill and everything for a new bridge. That would
That's
phase
a
out.
lot better than
the
what we
stone-
thought originally. Yeah,
The
that's,
stone bridge would stay there, we'd just build beside it. Talked to Dan Gunner about his property on the left side.
South
the south
side,
side, yeah.
southwest side, yeah.
And he's fine. He said, I'll just give you that section you need. So that's a plus. Cannot make contact with people. Scott Rainier's brother Kevin, anybody know him? Can you ask him to get a hold of me? I can't, I don't either. I can't.
Liz upstairs may, because he's a precinct committee.
Oh, okay. I'll go up and see
So
her
Liz
then.
may have it
Okay.
upstairs.
So as soon as I make contact with him, he's on the other side of the creek, and we only need 50 feet of his property. So if we can acquire that, then
Sounds
keep
good.
the cost down,
So we got the one side for nothing.
pretty much. Yeah, that Dan said take it to fix it, and he
They
said,
would rather have the bridge.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, this bridge will be wider to get things
24
across
feet.
as well.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
12 foot now, so we're gonna double the width, and then the weight rating would go up, and it'd make it pretty nice.
Yeah, that'd
so
make
when
everybody
them, so
happy.
with them giving us that property, we still have to get surveyed off?
Oh, I would
I
say,
mean, we
yeah,
gotta go through a
right
pretty
on.
big process.
I don't know how that
Dedicated easement or right away from them.
So do we make, before we commit to that, that should be done, make sure it's actually theirs to give us, correct?
According to, yeah, GIS, it's theirs to the center of the creek,
Yeah.
Dan's,
Yeah, but
but,
GIS is not a legal document.
Right.
oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
just so you know.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know, okay.
You'd want to get a survey done.
Okay.
Confirm ownership, confirm the area in question that's necessary that they would need to convey either as a dedicated right-of-way
Okay.
or a grant.
Yeah,
whatever they-
and if,
Both
and
sides.
if they owe money on it, then their
Yeah.
lender would have to
There would
sign
need to
off
be a
on it.
partial release of
Yeah.
lien.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you'd have to do both sides.
Okay.
So what's the timeline on,
27 is what I'm hoping, if we can get this approved and get the money. And
so 27, so then what's in this year, like, where does the cash flow work well
Well,
for this
I'm hoping-
type of project in Bridge?
Like we used to edit the 750,000 and edit before, I'm hoping they'll just give me that to do it. I don't know if that works that way. This is new to me.
So you don't have enough in Bridge to cover this?
It'd be close. I mean, what's in Bridge, Amy, do you know? 11:30, is it 11:35?
Because is where I'm getting at, we have to be looking at what's spent this year,
Right,
what's spent next year, and then have the cash in 27.
right.
Right.
Have it.
And then
Yeah.
what expenses are we gonna have now? Like, we need to get the surveying done and all that type of stuff. We could pay for that out.
1.1 million in there.
Okay, and I have 40,000, I think, coming out of Bridge for deck overlays on 4 bridges this year.
Okay,
And I have no other bridges planned going in next year, so
okay.
I
So
don't
then
touch it.
cash flow, you should be
It
good
should
on
be
that
good.
side of it. Then
Right,
you don't, then, so where am I getting at? Then you don't need to take any money out of edit.
Okay,
You can take
okay.
money out of your existing bridge.
Okay.
I mean, I'd rather take a sacrifice for 1 year versus the 10 or.
What's the total cost of this bridge? You're saying
I have,
Got
that's
one
just
point,
You don't
she said
have,
No, I'm
1.5
counting
bridge
million.
like-
alone is only
That's got
497,000,
Yeah.
yeah. Concrete's 150, 20,000 geotech, that's where they drill, see how deep the bedrock is. Stone, we're figuring 10,000 in stone for backfill on, total. So I'm just saying 900,000 at the most.
Yeah.
I mean, that should,
600, that's only 677.
there was something else I had figured in there too, but
I mean, you're-
maybe it was if I,
Are the guys doing
Cranes?
crane work?
yeah, I'll have crane work, so I pay for cranes,
Yeah.
which we can use the mini to set the decking once it gets the beams laid.
So is that, I know, since we're talking 2 years out, does the price of that bridge go up?
He said it stays the same.
Okay.
He said it should not vary at all. So that was one question I asked him. It'll be 27 before we can do it, and he said, it's fine, just leave it where it's
So
at.
when do we need to commit to them to make sure that we have that for
But
27?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the final numbers and approval from the land people.
So that's something, maybe we, toward the end of the year, we can make sure we can, make
Lock it
sure we
in.
kind of have all that stuff together, pulled together toward the end of
Yeah,
the year, and
that's-
then.
I'm working on it.
And if we have a little money to spend this year, maybe we can use that for part of the, maybe to get started on it, on some of the preliminary work, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, the surveying, is that gonna, we'll get a discount since he's county, or I don't know how that.
I'm not sure how that, I mean,
Don't count on it.
yeah.
I don't-
Say, don't.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Whatever the
I guess we
rate
could
of
ask.
surveying is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could call him and ask him. I don't know what,
I mean, you can call him or another one, he's gonna give you the best price, I
In the
mean,
year 27, it could be.
Yeah, make him compete, I
Correct.
guess.
could be, yeah.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take, it'd probably take all summer, so.
Jason,
Yep.
call 2 surveyors,
Sieg in French?
Sure.
Sure, okay.
okay? And tell them what the scope of the project that you need done, and tell them you need a tentative price. It's gonna be paid for out of the, cume cap, and you need to know what it's gonna cost to get accomplished what it is, and go that route.
Sure will.
Yeah.
I'm figuring it out. It's new to me. And
Right.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, because I think you're gonna spend more time on that project, on the surveying and the land acquisition and that stuff than you are on the bridge. I would tentatively tell them you want the bridge. I mean, is that fair to say? Like,
Yeah,
we have
I
a
agree.
solution to the problem, let's buy the bridge.
Okay.
Tentative that, hold the bridge, hold the price for us. Now, you have these steps to go through.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be, it could take just to get a hold of the landowner, probably.
But the surveyor won't do any of the land acquisition, making sure all that's done correctly, will they?
They would just do the surveying to find out ownership, location, platting, all that kind of stuff. When they get the descriptions, then we would need to prepare either dedicated right-of-ways that they sign off on. I mean, the surveyor can do that in the form of a survey, but then we may actually need a legal document that gets recorded along with the survey
What do we do if they want to sell us the ground instead of just giving it to us? What do we- Just buy it, I guess?
Well, we'll have to negotiate with them, I guess.
Fair market.
We'd
Oh,
probably
yeah,
have to
whatever,
get-
I don't know.
Probably have to have at least 2 appraisals, take the average.
Okay.
We can offer maybe the lowest appraisal.
If need to, maybe I can go with you and talk to him. I know his brother Scott,
Okay, yeah, I don't.
and
I
I have
love him.
talked
I
to
don't
him
know.
years ago, but I don't know the
I
best
got-
way to get hold of him.
There's a small
How
creek,
close are we going to be to the bridge?
The existing,
80 feet maybe?
Like, I mean,
100
why can't we just put it 2 feet next to it?
Because if it falls, what if it takes out the new bridge?
if it does
Or-
collapse, you'll have to have some equipment that can get in there and
I guess.
get it out without disturbing the new one. I had a question on the bridge. It's a public works project, and they still have a pretty low threshold on bidding those, but this is, E&H, are they about the only guys that do these?
They are through
Iron
E3
beams.
bridges. They're through the E3 bridge that got our bid,
Okay. They work with
so,
that.
yeah.
If we've already.
So it'll
bidded
be
that,
worked
so-
into,
But I know it's a fairly unique
right.
system that they have, and I don't
And-
think too many other people offer that. So
Okay.
if that's what it calls for, then we probably don't have to do competitive bidding, but
And we're kind of subcontracting it out too, you know.
Do I need to get bids on the concrete work then, since it's such a high number?
it wouldn't hurt to get some quotes on it, I wouldn't think.
Is-
because-
Is E&H supplying you with drawings and stuff so that way you can?
I've got,
and-
yeah, I've got the prints of it.
and prints of it, so that way you can put it out. If you do need to send it to 2 different or multiple companies, you can say, hey, here's the specs.
Bid it out.
We probably
Okay.
maybe need to actually give a scope of work and bid it, but if E&H and E3 work together, I'm not sure it's that critical.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we've already,
I still, because it is a public works project, usually bidding's done unless there's something extremely special or an emergency about this particular situation.
is this decking welded? Do you go back in, is it
Yeah.
just set in there, or does it get welded
It's
together?
welded, but I'm not having the guys do it because they're not certified. That's a big enough bridge that I'm gonna hire a contractor to come in that's certified to weld the bridge deck down.
Okay, because I knew we did one of these metal bridges, and
They
it's,
sting when the welds break,
yeah.
loud. Yeah.
They're loud in general, it's a weird sound when you go over them, but
That one on 1,000, that's one, you hit it and it's bang, wakes the guy up, he said.
They got one on 500 North too.
Right there, Happy
I
Hollow.
don't think
does the same thing.
that goes on, I think that Rainier's on down. It looks
Is it?
like here it's
Okay.
Darwin and Nancy Mock.
From Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. I don't know how to get hold of them
property.
either.
I don't think
Send them a letter, I
a
guess.
bridge will go on Rainier's.
Okay. You see where the creek is on that one side?
Yeah,
Be just to the right of that.
yeah,
So we'll straighten out that little ditch line.
yeah. It could
And
be,
then
it
put
might
the-
actually be on both of them. I'm not sure. Yeah, but,
I was just gonna talk to him, let him know
Yeah.
what he was doing in case he had questions or whatever.
I guess you could put some post barriers on the old one and let it be a walking trail or a bike bridge.
well, what will we, I know we'll seal it off. I know we probably have to leave because it's an historic bridge.
Well, it's not select, so that means it could fall over and we don't have to fix it. Select means we have to repair it. We went through that with Brownstown, remember?
Yeah.
We had non-select, select.
I mean, would we give that, is there a way to give it to the Historical Society and let them do whatever they want to with it to get it out from underneath us, or?
No, we still have to pay for the inspections, like the wooden bridge in Holton. Even though we don't use it, we still pay for the inspections, even though Historical Society took it over.
In my opinion, I think they ought to we ought to take those 2 bridges and make them a part of the park system. Ripley County Park
Right.
can maintain those and put I've said this for years, this covered bridge we have over here in Holton, put it underneath the park's purview, and then have them put a picnic table out there and have them maintain it.
Yeah.
Because this one over here, get it out of the highway garage purview. Because we're saving, if these are public items that we are saving for the future and the historical, put them underneath the park.
It's $1,500 a piece per year to have or not year, but when they do the inspections, it's
Yeah,
$1,500.
I mean, I understand that you're gonna have that cost, but they're also not being, like, I haven't been to the one over, the covered bridge over in Holton in a while, but when we had some issues out there in the past, I went out there and trees were all overgrown and all that, and that needs to be maintained.
Right.
You know, because it's still an asset that the taxpayers in this county have from a historical standpoint. And that's, I know we have a lot of headache over at the county park, but the county park system is not the 4-H fairgrounds. The county park system is the county park system. And I think we need to ask and tell the park that these two bridges are your responsibility, whether it's signage, mowing, maintaining, you know, with the help of you guys, if they need to use a
We mow the
tractor,
Wood Bridge
but,
once a year for that tractor thing that Smaltz does. What is it called?
Antique tractor,
Yes,
yeah,
when they do the
tractors
little tour.
old or,
Go
yeah,
out and we'll mow it all for them, and that's it. That's all I'd ever
Yeah.
do for the whole year.
so we ought to pursue that with the covered bridge, and then we'll have that all framework all laid out for when this bridge becomes available, we'll be able to do that one.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they can put a little sign out there that says Ripley County Park Board maintain, and put a little sign out there, walking bridge or something.
Okay, but the county garage will help keep it bush hog.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go.
'Cause they don't have that
twice a
equipment.
year for
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, someone, that way someone go down there, I mean, I don't care, pour a piece of see if you can pour a piece of concrete in front of, put a picnic table out there and just make sure it's mowed and, I mean,
Do
we,
you want to take care of it?
should be the park. Should be the Ripley County Park.
I don't know.
I don't see how they have the equipment or the right manpower for
No,
that
we
kind
would,
of work.
we would do it once or twice a year, just.
Yeah, but if you're doing it anyway, do you want the park to have the budget? Because they're gonna need an additional budget, I would think.
They have a tax rate. The park system, the park board has a tax rate. And it's the Ripley County Park.
But it's going to be eliminating the inspection fees when you do that, right?
No, probably not.
No, 'cause
Probably
it's
not.
still
I'm just
access
saying,
for-
is where I'm getting at with them taking care of it, that let's use the covered bridge as an example. It is an asset sitting there that we have to maintain, and that's costing this county and the taxpayers money, and we have to spend the money. But other than people
We
driving,
spent money on them one time though, Mark. When that tornado was,
The
yeah,
road
that was
damage.
$25,000.
we also get paid for them bridges.
Not,
by the state.
I don't
We
believe,
don't on the one in Holton,
we don't.
but we do the one down here at the park.
But I'm just saying that is where I'm getting at, is that if you go down there, it would be just nice that it was mowed, cleaned up, and maybe a bench or something was put out there as a park. Because otherwise, we have it, in my opinion, if you're not going to utilize them in any way, then you might as well just tear them down and not have to deal with them at all.
But do we own the land that you would set that on?
We have a right of way, but can we use it?
Do
Possibly.
you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
just
John, I don't know.
Trying not to like.
So can you walk across that covered bridge? Can you go out there and walk around it?
You can walk-
I didn't know if it was
Whatever you
shut
wanna do.
off to the
The only way
public.
to stop the inspections is to close it off permanently to walking foot traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as somebody's on that bridge, it has to be inspected. And the bushings on the west end has to be replaced before too long. That's what holds the bridge up.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah, that's,
I've just always felt like that's there. We've spent money to maintain, we have to. It needs to be utilized as something.
I know, but I don't know if that, I mean, because the park has a tax rate for the park, not for that bridge. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we might have to look up some ordinances to make sure when that tax rate was existed, like what's the taxes cover?
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we could just
Well, I don't
give
even
them
know if
a
it's-
bridge and say the taxpayers are gonna pay for that.
Well, if it's part of the park system, I mean,
But I don't think it is.
if we give it to them, give it to the parks, and it would be part of the park system, wouldn't it?
I just think it needs to be, whether you call it the, I mean, it's just something that is sitting there that isn't being marketed, that people even know it's here.
I just don't want anyone to get in trouble for doing something that should be done because of them having a tax rate.
Yeah.
I see your point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just sitting there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, is anyone even promoting that we have these bridges that, I mean,
I want to make
it's,
sure that it's not,
yeah.
that we own the property. We can't put a picnic table on somebody's property that's not owned by us. And, I mean, you can't give something to the park if we're not sure if Like, I mean, I don't know how you just do it to the park.
I mean, I don't, it could at least be promoted as something that the county has with the tourism. I don't know. It needs to be, it needs to be utilized other than just something we're spending money on that no one knows about. I
Maybe
mean,
that's an option, tourism instead.
yeah, I mean, the covered bridge over there is an asset
Yeah,
that,
they could use that.
I'll tell you, when we talked about not fixing it the last time, I had people in the
yeah.
public in here wanting it fixed. And I said, well, utilize it. Promote it as whatever. Like, that's what I'm saying with this park board. Like what can you do and we're going to run into the same problem with this other bridge. You know, once we bypass this other bridge, it's a historical asset, but we can't use it. So,
Interestingly enough, Mark, I just pulled this up, Guilford Covered Bridge Park, they made it a park. Apparently there was enough land or right of way around it to do that. In Lawrenceburg, Indiana, features a restored covered bridge and is operated by Dearborn County Parks and Recreation Department according to Visit Our Guilford Covered Bridge Park.
That's the one on Route 1.
The
Yes.
park also includes a shelter house, basketball court, play equipment, and restrooms. It's a popular spot for picnics and events. I don't know how much area you have to turn it into all that, but I'm not sure of the process or how we get there, but
yeah,
apparently it can be.
that's what I'm saying. We have been very close-minded that the Ripley County Parks and Recreation System is within the area of Osgood and the 4-H fairgrounds.
And that's the only park Ripley County maintains, right?
Yes,
So it would be nice to expand the Ripley County park system.
that's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not.
And then
saying
taking
you
an-
can't.
yeah, and then
I'm saying,
taking-
Like, you just need to make sure
How we go about it.
how you go about
Yeah.
it.
And what existing either dedicated right-of-way or ownership.
Yeah, and the only reason why I'm saying the park system, you just want someone to go down and check it to make sure people aren't throwing trash, that there's a trash can down there. Like, that's what I'm saying from a maintenance standpoint.
Right.
That if you were to be able to get a picnic table down there and a car pulled off so people can
Right.
park and not be on the road, and if we don't own the land, talk to the landowners if they're willing to work with us to do something. And when I say maintain as a park, you still need to make sure trash is picked up. Like I said, maybe not full construction
You could
project,
put a
but
picnic table in the middle of the bridge, couldn't you?
that's what,
Tank, yeah. So-
yeah, Ripley,
should-
put a little sign that says Ripley County Picnic Area.
Yeah.
It's better than just having the
Yeah,
bridge
let
sitting
it
there
fall.
doing nothing.
I
So,
like how Brownstown's falling in, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but, yeah, that's where I'm at with
All right.
all that.
okay,
Cool.
Okay, on the property owner, did you, that you needed to get a hold of on the bridge, getting a right of way or something?
Dan
Did-
Gunner.
Right.
was all right with
Did
that.
you look at the property card or maybe a contact number or something for taxes being sent?
Okay. They got
The
an
assessor,
address,
the
Hamilton,
assessor's
so-
office should have that.
Yep, and then, Kevin Renier on the other side. That's it.
Liz may have his number.
Okay.
You may be
Yeah,
able
I'll
to
go
find
up-
a phone number.
I'll go up and
for
catch
him.
her.
We're not going to have access to anyone's phone number because we
Okay.
don't keep them that way.
Maybe just send them a letter or something. Get it going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'll tell them to put that tentatively on hold or go from there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would try to lock in any pricing, anything that you can possibly do. And, I mean, I believe if we have cut back on bridges this year and we cut back on
Everything's covered,
bridges expenses next year, we pay for it out of the bridge fund, there'll be
Next year.
cash in there available to do that.
Yeah, and I'd get bids on the concrete work.
Okay. I don't know who to, like, one of them's out of Indianapolis. Maybe Baker out of Ohio. I don't, they're a big company too.
Yeah, I'm not even sure who would do that type of concrete work. I mean, I know it's just
Yeah.
not flat work. It's going to be somebody that's bonded and everything.
32-foot piers or
I mean,
9 or 12 feet wide.
Milestone, who do they have
I don't know.
do that? You have, I mean, Dave
O'Meara
O'Meara's
might-
built
O'Meara might
bridges.
do it.
Okay.
You know, we just need the concrete work. Who are they subbing their concrete out with?
I'll get a hold of them today then.
Yeah. Jason, what road is that old covered bridge closest to the intersecting road? Well,
Is that 850?
I think it is 850 that goes through there, I think.
Right beside 850.
It's south of Hopewell. I'm not sure
Mhm.
exactly
South,
what.
yeah, southwest Hopewell,
Yeah.
west of Hopewell.
I was just gonna see if the GS would show us about how much.
5 My bad. I'm just trying to scratch my
South
forehead.
of 850.
Any other questions for Jason?
Nope, if you need any help, I'll try to help.
Yeah, because I'm kind of lost on where to go with.
Yeah, I'd start with the surveyors, and then, I mean, they could even send letters on behalf of the county, too, if we need to send certified mail.
Okay,
Like, that's all,
to get this going, and
Yeah.
about 27, we'll get her in.
yeah. So I think that's a year and a half's worth of work there, just getting
yeah.
the surveyors, getting hold of the landowners.
Beats 12 million though, don't it?
It does, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Take care.
Alex, do you have anything for us? State your name and position, we're all on camera.
Okay. Alex Poole, Director of EMS. I spoke to Craig and Jeff about a couple of trees at our for sale station that are looking pretty bad. We had a storm a couple weeks ago, lost some pretty big pieces. So they had me have Adams Tree Service come out. He gave us a quote for $2,300 to cut down the 2 trees we discussed.
Okay.
I think I have money in the budget, but I don't know if I can come up with the full 2,300. I was going to see if maybe we could maybe split it.
Yeah, because they're ash trees, they're dead.
Yeah, he said the one that's like partially dead, it has ash borer, so it
Yeah.
will be dead completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, what do you typically, that would save some of your budget, I mean, what, if something breaks over there, I mean,
Yeah,
typically,
so
what do you?
I have like, I think 5,000 is what Scott had for building, like, maintenance. We had a couple of garage doors go down this year that I had to replace springs on. So I have money in there, but I'm down to like $1,500. So I
What was
was
the quote for, Alex?
2,300.
Thank you, sorry.
And this is just cutting them down and disposing of them,
Yeah.
or pushing them in the woods, or?
He would take them off as far as, and I can verify that, but my
Yeah, there's
understanding
no
was.
place to just shove them, that wouldn't look
Yeah.
very good.
Okay. I don't have any issue in paying half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'll make a motion to pay for half of it.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Another thing, while I was there, and I didn't talk to you about it, your pavement out there needs chipped and sealed. Bad.
Yeah,
It is so cracked up, it's gonna, water can get down in it very easily.
yeah, we've got like.
So it's just
some,
something to look at.
Vegetation coming through in a few places.
Yeah, I haven't been over there in a while.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, that's
pretty poor
something we can get
shape.
with Jason to do. I mean, we would have to pay for it out of our budget, but if that's something that would be cheaper to chip and seal it than it would be to repave the whole thing. And
Okay.
so
Thank you.
maybe later this fall, remind
Yeah.
us,
Yeah, I'll talk,
And we'll
I'll
have
say
him-
something to Jason.
have him give us a price and what it's going to cost, and we can pay for that.
Okay, perfect. And then the next thing, kind of coming to ask for forgiveness, I think. I didn't realize I kind of made a mistake the other day. We have always borrowed someone's trailer to take the lawnmower between Mile and River Sales. I bought a trailer for under $1,000, not realizing that it had to be, I mean, I guess hindsight, I knew it had to be titled, but I didn't really think about that as far as the county goes. So I guess I'm here asking if I can keep the trailer or,
So you purchased the trailer
I
with
purchased
your
a small-
funds from
yes, yep.
EMS? Okay.
But I probably should have asked before I did it, so I apologize for that. I didn't really
Okay,
think.
well, if you needed it for transporting the
Who
lawnmower.
mows the grass?
Our crew,
Your crew does?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you pull it
Sure,
with, what
no
vehicle-
problem whatsoever, as long as I don't have to mow the grass.
What
That's,
vehicle do you pull it with?
One of the chase trucks.
I'm sorry?
One of the chase trucks, either mine or
Okay.
one of the mine.
And nobody else uses it except for that, I mean,
Yeah,
as long as it's not getting loaned out.
No, it's
Yeah.
literally just for that
Yeah,
lawnmower to
I'm
go
fine
back.
with it.
and
Yep.
work with Amy as far as the title stuff. Already did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then,
no problem.
perfect. The last thing, I just, it's not really, I guess, an issue or anything, but I just wanted to kind of give you the briefing on it. We talked to the leasing company about maybe doing that with the chase trucks for next year. Is that something you guys are comfortable with, or are we more wanting to just buy
I think we need to wait to see how this other project is going first.
I would, yeah, we basically, I believe this week is a full year since we started, since we
Okay.
signed that contract. I think it's to be determined how we all feel about it.
Okay.
Okay?
The reason I am asking is the Medic 17 it's a 2014 with like 160,000 miles on it, and we're starting to put a lot of money into it to keep it going. So I know I'm going to be like either asking for a truck next year or figuring out the lease thing, whatever, so.
What do you
just
mean by a lot of money to keep it going?
like, we've had to have, I think we've put probably like $5,000 in it this year. And I know last year Scott had to put, I'd have to look at the claims, but I know last year it had quite a bit of work done too, to like the front end. And,
We can look to see how much we spent on claims.
Yeah.
not on that one.
yeah, and I should have had that ready. I just was more like kind of putting it in front of you so you had an idea that that was.
So the front end is tie rod shocks, that's just
Yeah,
normal
and
procedure.
I know like, John Bryson, and I can ask him for more details, but he had told me like there's some stuff with the engine that's starting to kind of.
How many miles do you have on it?
165, I believe.
Okay. Does that have an hour meter on it?
It probably does, I can
We
look,
might have to download it out of the computer,
yeah.
because just curious how much idle time would,
Yeah.
with the miles.
So do you know, I mean, is there other people or other counties that actually lease their ambulances, or do you know?
It's just the chase trucks, so it would just be SUVs.
SUVs only?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
Okay.
And how many do you have?
3,
Three.
yep. And the other 2, we're not at the point where we need to worry about replacing them or
So
anything.
what kind of trucks are they? I mean, what model, what are they?
So the one in question is a Chevy Tahoe 2014,
Okay.
and then the other 2 are 2020 Ford Interceptors. Those 2 are fine. We have problems with them, but just the Ford, it's not.
So
Just
you-
Fords.
So, I mean, I guess it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for her to go ahead and talk to Enterprise to see what would be involved to get that put into it.
So myself and Jason Smith sat down and just with the Enterprise rep, and he walked us through like what the sheriff's department's doing. He actually got us quotes and stuff. I just didn't know, because I know it was new to the county, so I wanted to kind of pick your guys' brain before budget time comes up on whether I need to go for purchase of a car or if I can look at
Yeah,
these.
I don't have any issue with entertaining it. I just still think it's to be determined as to whether everybody's comfortable with it. Is that fair to say? Like, I mean, we need to look at the numbers and be like, all right, instead of, how many cars we buy at the sheriff's department, we need to look at it, because basically what happened, we don't own these assets anymore, which is
Right.
fine. So basically, all we'd be doing is adding one more vehicle that's yours to it.
Right.
But I think if we do that, we just need to be clear and concise that they're not just throwing all of them into it like they did with the sheriff's office and getting some replaced that we didn't feel like should be replaced, so.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be our call before they're added in. Like you said, the 222s, I'd sure hate to see them get replaced next year.
Yeah.
We really
And
don't
see,
need-
I think, so when talking to him, it sounds like, because so both of those have like roughly 60,000 miles, and my understanding is they like to try to get them, like traded in before, I think around 80 is what.
Right, so
my
that's what I'm
understanding was,
afraid of.
so.
If we
So, yeah.
go into that, they'll probably end up replacing all of them over the next couple of years, and I'm not sure we want to.
Yeah,
do
I don't
that.
have a preference, I just, like I said, when budget comes, I just wanted to kind of have an idea on whether I was buying or,
I would put it in your budget to
Yeah.
buy one.
Okay.
Just
And
for
then,
that
because
one.
we can always back down from that number
Yeah.
and say we put it in a lease.
right.
So, yeah, I think that's,
You can always change it.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I think that's all I have. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
So did we look at for the building out there?
Yeah,
Alex,
I
just
did.
a minute.
I did. I looked out there. The parking lot isn't big enough to put that shed.
No.
It needs to be enlarged because they're already hurting for parking. So my thoughts is, we would clean the rest of that woods off. And a lot of the trees are only about that big, the biggest in size, diameter. And add on,
Is this the parking lot in Milan?
Yeah.
because they don't have access to the old supermarket parking lot anymore. It's got an iron fence around it to be able to use for training. They've got a lot of people coming in, so, and they are hurting for parking.
Do we want to get a price quote on getting those trees cut out?
I mean, I could go drop them down, but you gotta put them somewhere.
Yeah.
That lot's not
You
as
got to
big
put
as
them
you think.
somewhere, and you also need to dig the stumps up if you're going to put,
Yeah. Stump grind it, if anything.
But there would be a benefit to this other than a place to put that building.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they need more parking. Jason Smith even told me too.
I think we need to get a quote, we'll start with a quote, figure out what it's going to cost to get what we want done and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
yeah. Is the property line clearly marked between us and that
I've
lot?
seen a T-post along
Yeah,
the
I'm
road
not,
closest to them, but I don't know back in the back.
Okay, and that,
I didn't walk it. It was raining while I was sitting in my truck.
it's wet
observing.
anyway.
yeah, it's a swamp back there. So yeah, I would try to get some quotes on getting that clear, just make the drive, put it in the park. I think we had the highway garage bring the stone in the last time,
Yeah. They could even maybe
but,
clean it up.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think the stumps need removed. If you stump grind them down, I think you'd be good. And get rid of the chips and stuff.
I don't know, who did we have do it the last time? Do you remember, Amy?
Because they're not great big giant trees.
No, they're not, no. I mean, it'd be nice, like, is there any space to leave a couple trees there?
It's maybe.
I'm not sure how big that lot is.
I was misled looking on GIS the size of that parking lot. It's not that big.
Okay.
No,
That's
it's
that.
I
not
was just
big at all.
thinking, you
You
know.
get 4 or 5.
I mean, I know the town is, you know, they really want things to look nice over there, and I don't want to do something to make it worse. But,
I mean, everybody keeps talking about how wet it is. If we put a parking lot there, I mean, can we get drainage where you can actually, it's not going to just sink away? I don't know, I'm just asking. I haven't been over
It's,
there.
the parking lot's higher. I'd say there's drainage, but there might be a problem with the property owners going towards the
I
highway.
just don't want somebody to come to the drainage board over something we did.
yeah, you know, the interesting thing is, there are ditches all the way around it, so probably just pushing the water out to the ditches is what's happening.
What's there is above the water setting, the gravel that's there, so.
So, yeah, we just need to get some quotes
We
on.
just have to look, I can take another gander at it too and get out. Like I said, it was pouring down rain when I was there and I was just observing and
I think, I think the first step, in my opinion, would be just get a quote to see what it would cost to expand the parking lot, an all-inclusive quote, and we'll start from there.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
So trees
Yeah,
and
just
stone. and
Somebody to go in and say, hey, this is, start one day and finish and have you a parking lot. And then we'll start seeing if we can whittle down some of the costs.
Okay, I will get a hold
Yep.
of some people. Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you.
Alex. Have a wonderful day.
Art,
Do you remember when we bought that building?
I remember, you mean the property? I remember signing for it with the doctor that owned it. I did the closing on that.
It had to have been like 22 probably, right?
Yeah, Chris and Kendall were both commissioners. I'm glad we bought
Thank you,
it.
Art.
Probably find it on Ripper County GIS and put up the property card, it might say.
Yeah. Morning.
Thank you, Bert.
Well, hope everybody had a great weekend. Let's see, so project summary. Our goal is to try to complete the punch list by the end of this week. There is some items that will not be completed. I know we've got some new partition panels on order for the basement restrooms. There's a few that were badly scratched. So I haven't got a ship date for those yet, but I'm working on that. And then another item that probably won't be done is I'm having some mechanical installation issues. I know Craig's got a lot of complaints where there was water dripping out of the ceiling. I reviewed that when I was on site last week. The mechanical insulator, there's some gaps in the insulation and stuff that didn't get properly sealed, so I've got a meeting with them at 11 o'clock today. And we're probably looking at maybe a couple Saturdays in the building because I'm going to make them go over all the mechanical insulation under all the equipment and throughout the building on all levels to make repairs. And then I also told them that they're going to supply 12 bundles of ceiling tiles for replacement, because there's a lot of damaged tiles. So that's
read my
probably
mind.
an item that will carry on for the 25th. Along with some controls issues, we're going to provide humidistats for, we were talking about replacing the thermostats, but I think we're going to add a humidistat next to the thermostat for all the HVAC units. And then we're going to have to pay for some programming. The equipment is capable of dehumidification, it just needs reprogrammed. So we're trying to get that resolved as quickly as possible to resolve the humidity issues in the building. The only other, let's see, basement restroom work. We've got some pipe covers to install as well. I'm hoping that that got done last week. It's either going to be done, it was either done last week or it's going to be done this week. Got to follow up. Let's see, Blackmore and Buckner, they'll be starting the jail roof this coming Monday. So we're excited for that. Craig, anything, any safety issues?
No.
Okay. Milestones achieved. We turned the basement restrooms over. And we installed a ceiling fan in the new vault, in the existing storage vault area. Work schedule this week, we're gonna carry on with any punch list items. Continue to have controls meetings on a weekly basis until we get the controls issues resolved. Work schedule next week, same thing, try to finish out the punch list in the courthouse, continue to have controls meetings, and we're gonna kick off the jail roofing project. Up and coming activities, hopefully by mid-September, we'll have the roof completed and we can start the solar array. And then I've been working on the O&Ms and closeouts. Action items needed, I think I sent Amy over the AIA substantial completion for the courthouse.
Here you go. I have it.
Awesome. Appreciate that. I'm going to work on the AIA forms for the HVAC, for the jail and the lighting. I'll try to get that to you so we can start the warranty. Appreciate that. Moving on to the open discussion. So we had the roofing contractors on site last week, and they were measuring the insulation thickness. So he was at the parapet walls, and he cut into the insulation and found that there's a lot of ants inside under the roof membrane. So I took a few pictures. I think we showed Craig the ant problem. So I know a lot of that will probably go away when we do the roof replacement. But the issue is and I went through our Verigy scope of work, and the parapet wall, the limestone coping needs resealed and caulked. Or it could be covered with metal, that would be another option. But unfortunately, that wasn't part of our scope. But I think, and just overall maintenance, there's somehow, I don't know if there's moisture getting in from the caulk joints or while those ants are under that roof membrane. But the roofing contractor, he said, well, that's how they're getting in, so. Because that cap sits on top, and then it's got caulk joints. I think those masonry units are 4 to 5 feet long, and then there's a caulk joint. So it just needs.
And this is, where is this joint
At
at?
the jail. It's a coping cap, so you got your parapet wall that comes up, and it's got that limestone cap on top. And it doesn't go all the way around the building. It goes along the back side of the building. Well, probably in a C shape. The front part of it, the front part of the building doesn't have that.
Yeah, that's like a metal cap on the front, I think.
Well, so how far is it from the ground?
Actually, it's above the roof line, probably 3 to 4 feet above the roof line.
So, I mean, they're
On that
coming,
side?
I'm not a pest guy, but I mean, they have to be getting in the ground somewhere. Ants don't live on concrete, so they got to be coming from the ground somewhere, don't they?
Yeah, they're coming up from the ground.
So
but
would that be a
Up the
pest
side of the
control
building
guy
and-
coming and spraying for ants or something? I just hate to spend a fortune to cap some limestone when on raw reality, all we need to do is get somebody to come in and spray for pests.
Well,
Okay.
but on the contrary of it, if ants can get in, water can get in.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
mean,
kind of my concern, you know, if ants can get in, then we are having a water issue, which is,
I don't know if that's something you want to go to the jail and go up on the roof and look at the coping up there?
I would find, but the weather's not, I was going to
Sure.
suggest that, but the little wet right now. Because what I don't want to put a new roof on the building and then not fix some caulking issues that, because like I said, if ants can get in, water can get in.
And I know the coping, it could be, the limestone could be resealed and then recaulked. I mean, that would probably be the best solution versus, I mean, overall, a metal cap would be, you know, would last for many, many, many years, but, just depends on what, you know, the budget, you know.
so can we get a cost on both alternatives? Get us a cost on both
I sure can.
alternatives, and we can make the decision on which route we need to go. I mean, definitely something has to be done.
Sure will. I'll get that right away. The only other issues we're gonna have is when we install some gutter, we might need a little bit of razor wire inside there's a mechanical courtyard. I think there's like an L shape or there's some razor wire. We'll need that removed and then probably reinstalled on the new gutter when we put the new gutter in. And then the only other issue we were looking at while we're up there, there's a lot of loose wires laying up on the roof from the camera system. So I don't know if we want to install the new roof and then those camera wires are just kind of, I don't know if they need to be in conduit, they need to be.
That would be
To me,
a
that would
good
be the best
question.
solution.
Is that,
So, yeah, we need to get rid of the sheriff's department because we're paying for that whole system to be redone.
So
Okay.
with that right there, I was informed that those cameras will not be on the roof anymore. They will actually be mounted on the building, the new ones were.
Okay, good.
So there's only 3 main ones that will affect being moved. And I told the jail commander to get with Lee and discuss how they wanted to handle those 3 cameras.
Okay.
Right. Only other thing, yeah, so there was two, that's good to know, because with the solar array going up there and, you know, those wires just kind of ran out. That'll be nice they are gonna rework the wiring?
Yeah, that's all I was told. I don't know how they're rerunning it or anything like
Okay.
that. That's between them.
Okay, well, we can coordinate on that, Craig.
Here comes Lee now.
He's upstairs listening to us talk about him.
I didn't catch the details, though, I just heard my name.
The,
There's 3 cameras up on the roof that will have to be moved because the wiring is running along it. So got with the jail commander to get with you to discuss how to move them to get the wiring and everything out of the way for the roof project.
What is the roof going to be?
We're gonna start on the 28th. And they can work around the wires, but we're just concerned about damage.
So those are all going to get removed anyway.
Okay.
Once the camera system, because we're doing on the building, not on top. This was the last
Nice.
item.
Okay, very good.
So they're going to get moved or removed at some point.
Okay.
I can contact SAS and find out if there's any, like, major concerns about it right now. If they can safely just move them,
Well, that's what we'll try to do. But we can't, you know what I mean? If they're moving wires and then they're trying to roof, you know, I'm just concerned about damage. But if we think we damaged something, we can let you know right away.
not too concerned about the wires because they're not in the best of shape right now. I mean, I would.
Is it just like a Cat 5 that's laying up there, or like a coax?
No, it's coax cable with a 4-wire power, low voltage that runs the cameras right now.
There's just enough, it'd be nice if there was just enough just to move them and set them out on your,
That's what we're gonna do, try to shove them out of the way as best we can. They do have some slack in them.
Okay.
They'd have to completely kind of move 2 of them over to another area, remove, lay down, and then put back.
It sounds to me like, Art, once they're done with this other project, they're gonna go by the wayside. But we just
Okay.
need them to work until then.
All right, I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
All right, appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
I can get with you a little bit.
Yeah, do you have a color chart? I need to make a copy for review of the flashing metal. That'll be like the color of the new gutter and the flashing around the edge. I think the goal is to try to match as close as possible with what's existing with, and there's several colors. Like there's a gray and there's like a silver, but we could go over that with Craig. So I need to get a color chart. And then there is a couple existing hoods up there. We just need to know if we can get rid of them. There's an old gooseneck. I don't know what it was for. And then there's an old kitchen hood curb, I think. So we'd like to get rid of those, and they just go away.
Yeah, as long as they don't need them, I don't see no reason to try to work around them, be just another chance for someplace to leak.
Yeah.
And then, and I didn't have it on my meeting minutes, but there's 5 roof curbs up there for exhaust fans. The curbs are all kind of, they've been kind of hodgepodged over the years, I guess. They've been like built up, and then there was curb adapters put on them. I think we're just gonna go ahead and replace those curbs, so.
Oh, I would expect that
Right, yeah.
to have happened. I know,
We're gonna replace those and try to get those on. the
I know enough about roofs to know that should have been done. Cool.
All right, so that's really all I have for today. Any questions from anyone?
I kind of want to go back to that insulation issue. I mean, I think I want to make clear I'm a little concerned about that. That's the reason why we started this whole project, is so that way this didn't happen. I mean, is there going to be, I mean, obviously you said they're going to get it fixed, but, like, I mean, is this stuff going to hold up to where we're not having condensation and leaks and things like that over there, or?
Hopefully, I don't want to speak for Art, hopefully we take care of the humidity situation there, that will
That's
kind
gonna
of
help.
calm down a lot of it.
It's gonna help. But and I kind of got after the contractor last week, there's a lot of quality control issues. You know, near the end of the project, they pulled off the job, and I kind of said, hey, you need to get back here, you still have work to do. And then when they did come back, then I think they rushed through to finish, and they just left a lot of quality control issues behind, unfortunately. But definitely, even if I have to come oversee them on a couple Saturdays to make sure that the insulation is proper, and joints are sealed correctly, and, we're gonna do what we need to do, so.
So I had a question on the thermostat. You say you're going to be adding another device that looks like a thermostat to check humidity right beside all of them?
Yes.
Is that going to be another piece of conduit run down?
No, they're, actually, so when they ran the thermostat wires, I'm assuming they used an 18-8 wire. Maybe the thermostat only used 5 of those wires, so the wiring's there. But our controls team, they'll mount the humidistat, and then they'll fish those wires out of the wall and connect them to the humidistat, and then they'll have to land them on the unit. And then once that's completed, then Train will have to come and reprogram the equipment.
So that can't be an all-inclusive unit where it's just one thermostat?
Well, we thought that we could buy a thermostat with the humidistat built in. I was told during our meeting the other day that They make such thermostat, but then they don't have the control, or the LED screen. You'd have to get them without an LED screen. So really, I mean, if we provided stats without, it'd basically be a downgrade.
Right.
We don't want to do that.
No.
Is that what we have over there?
I mean, it has a small LED display. I think the ones that we provided, the screen's a little bit bigger, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, what are the other two in the right of that thermostat, Craig?
One is a humidity
Yeah.
sensor, and the other one, I cannot remember what that one is.
Okay.
It probably looks similar to that.
Okay, I mean, I just want something that everything looks nice now. I don't want to just start adding stuff on that's going to take away from how things look and have something we have to deal with from now on.
Unfortunately, I combed through the drawings and specifications, and it was kind of a scope gap. They talked about the humidity sensors in the specifications, but then when you go to the drawings, they're not shown on the drawings. So it's kind of a miss,
Yeah.
but we're going to get it taken care of.
So, do you know if the door in the women's restroom that had where those decorations were, did that door get shaved down where that's a usable room now? Do you know that?
I'll have to check that.
Okay, because they had to.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So what about the blacktop work? Did that get done?
I think as a check, we provided a check for O'Mara, and I think they'll do it when it's convenient for them, I guess.
Okay.
So.
Is this in front of the courthouse or the one down in the jail, or
Actually,
both?
there's both. So we
Yeah.
had an expense for the jail. There's a telephone pole that some damage occurred. And then right out in front of the courthouse, there's a parking spot that had some damage. And then now the back alleyway, we haven't addressed that yet.
Okay. So I just
So
don't want to lose sight of it.
once we're done with the roofing and solar, then we'll probably have to get a quote for that and have that repaired.
Okay, all right. And then what about the concrete, where the concrete was broke? Did we get a check for that?
Yes.
Okay,
We
all right.
provided a credit for that.
Okay,
as well.
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I know you said you reordered the walls down there. What about the flimsiness?
Right, that's what I,
That is supposed to be addressed too, because I
Okay.
had that on my punch list to them, that they needed to address that. So they said that when they got the new panels, they would be adding something. I don't know if they're gonna put a new cap across those panel tops, a heavier duty cap, but that is on my punch list, so they'll definitely fix that.
yeah, so we had the issue, obviously, with the cosmetics of them, but the quality of them is an issue as well. So it sounds like that that's
I
not.
think the flooring
yeah.
guy's gonna add a transition strip at the tile where it meets the outside door of the women's restroom. There's that small gap, they're
Yeah.
gonna add a transition strip there.
Okay,
And then I know at one time we talked about it when we were doing a walk around about the gate doors.
right. So
I did see they looked better the last time I was out there. Are we okay with that?
I personally felt like the quality was very low on the whole fence deal, but if you guys are happy with it, I guess I'll go with it. But I thought it was pretty low quality to me.
I mean, I think it's better than what we had there before.
Yeah.
But before we were kind of questioning where the doors, and I think when last time I looked, it looked like they were adjusted right and kind
Yeah,
of.
they put cables inside and
They got support cable.
Okay,
straighten them up.
okay, so they did do something. That's what I.
There's a few caps that need replaced, that were kind of smashed on the top, but. I mean, if you're unhappy with the fence, I would be more than happy to walk it with you and read, because we're not, I mean, I can get the fencing guy back out here.
I just think when you can put your hand on the fence and shove and just basically lean against it and it go in 6 inches, to me, that's not a substantial fence. I mean, it's very flimsy.
I know like the main beams have like an I-beam system, where they installed it like a metal I-beam and then they put a cover over it. But no, if you're unhappy with the fence, by all means, I would like to look at it with you and you show me what issues you have with it.
I mean, there's three of us here. If those guys, if they're happy with it, I'll go with it. But I'm personally not happy with it myself.
I'm not familiar with that type of fencing to know how stable it is, so.
I think some of the issue that we had was maybe more of a locking, like it locking when we went out there. Like, is there a way, like, does it make sense that we have that area secured, Craig?
I actually, you reminded me, I did get a price for locks from Central Indiana Hardware. It was pretty steep, but it would keep from happening to have 4 or 5 different types of keys to, it'd be on the same key line as the buildings and everything.
Is it, what type of locking system would it be, Craig? Is it like a padlock?
Yeah.
A
it's
key, like a keyed
key
padlock?
padlock.
Yeah?
I think that's it right there.
I mean, I'd be happy to buy 2 combination padlocks. You could buy
I
them
mean,
in ours, a
so
2-pack. They got-
what was
put a
the
combination
scope of the
down.
work? Was it for a vinyl fence? Is that what we agreed to take when, because I wasn't out involved in that?
I don't
know what's on the scope.
recall what I know at one time it was like, do we even put a fence back up because council didn't want to buy a fence? And then at one point, there wasn't even a fence going to be put up. And so I'm not sure that when we went through it, that someone sat us down and said, well, this is the type of fence we're putting in. There was none of that conversation. Like, it's going to be a wood fence, composite fence.
Yeah.
That was never shared with us.
But to get rid of the flimsiness, you almost need an inside support to the post, right? Is that what you're saying
But
on it?
I think some things have been done over there, that's what I was questioning. Let us look at it again, because if some wires and different things, supports were done on it, then,
By all means, I want you
Yeah.
to be happy with that fence when we walk away.
Okay,
yeah,
And if there's issues with it that you don't like, I would like to resolve it now.
okay.
yeah.
Okay. We'll go take a gander at her.
I found it. The quote for 4 padlocks from Central Indiana Hardware, $555.44. These are hard to cut, stuff like that, padlocks, cores changeable, matches everything we have through the building, so we don't have different keys for different types of locks. But I didn't realize it was gonna be that expensive for 4 padlocks from them.
I mean, they make, Master, at Menards, they sell a nice, like, twin combination lock set. I mean, I'd be more than happy to buy 2 locks, and then you could put a 4-number combination into them.
So was there 3 gates on there? Is that
3
one on
gates,
this
yeah.
end too? Yeah, I don't care what you do. But, I mean,
You could actually put one padlock on the exterior and then go in the interior and put the other, so that way you just don't see them, if they didn't look nice, in my opinion. But, I don't know, we'll go look at it and figure it out. No sense in buying locks if we're not happy with.
so is that anything we have to worry about being a confined space? If you have padlocks, I mean, if you go in one way, is that something you guys, with OSHA? I mean, to me, that's a big red flag, because if you go in one door and it gets blocked with the height of that fence, I just think you should be able to get out another way. That's something I think somebody needs to look at.
Okay, yeah. Let me make note of that. For fence locks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, I locked myself in, or one of these guys locked me in there, I don't know which one it was.
That's why I kind of felt like it should have a knob on it that you could lock, and then you could still get out, like a regular door lock. That's why I was kind of pushing for door knobs with locks on them from the get-go, but.
All right. Cool.
So did you talk to your guy about the open house
Yes, I talked to Rick Anderson. He was supposed to reach out tomorrow.
He did. He reached out to me last week, and said, I told him like maybe like a Saturday morning,
Yeah.
when they have like one of their, markets or something going
Right.
on. So he just told me to let him know. I said here in the next couple of weeks, I kind of wanted to do it before the scaffolding got put up. But I guess it
Right.
doesn't matter. He said that they were gonna put that Vergy was gonna buy a remodel plate. Asked who names went on it. I said, you guys and Chris and Kendall.
That's fine.
Thought that
Yep.
was appropriate if we're
Yep.
gonna do it, that you guys saw through the project, but they initiated the project, so that way, so he said he was gonna do that. Rick Anderson was gonna buy that. I think he was
Okay.
just gonna I don't know how he's gonna put it in there with their names, but it'd have your guys's and theirs.
We'll have to find a spot for it.
I think it was gonna go next to the other ones that are in there.
Okay, okay.
I think that was the idea. So, just have the newspaper out here and say, done.
So I'd say on like August the 9th or the 16th. That gives a couple, because I think we probably should advertise it in the paper,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with that.
Either morning's good for me. So I think whichever one we can coordinate with when the town's having their,
yeah, they have it every Saturday.
is it every
Yeah.
Saturday?
Right.
You guys just want to pick one?
Do we need to, I don't know how long it take him to get that sign made.
I don't know.
I mean, you want to give him the option, tell him those two
Yep.
dates and let him,
Yep.
either one's fine with me, I really don't
Which
care.
days did you pick, the
The
16th?
9th or the 16th of August?
Yep.
Okay. I'll relay that to Rick.
Okay,
9th to the 16th?
yep. Call it 10 o'clock in the morning.
And there's probably no chance of scaffolding being put up by then, is there, Craig?
I would probably do earlier than 10,
Uh,
because it starts at 9.
But you will
The,
have, next week, the blinds will be started to be installed.
9?
Okay,
I
yeah.
think the farmer's market starts at 9.
Well, I think he's going to have an official ribbon cutting type situation.
Yes.
And that 10, but I think it should be open for that's kind of what he said that Rick would probably want to do. Is that not what we're doing?
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, I think it should be open for an open house from like 9 to noon. you know,
yeah,
And then actually have this ceremony at 10.
yeah, that sounds. Are you available, like,
So I've already talked to the judges, and they felt like, because I felt like the courtroom should be open because we did all the work in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And they said that they thought somebody might want to be like in the back part. And I talked to John. He said, John Duxall, he said if he needed to come in to sit in the courtroom, he'd be more than happy to do it. So I think once we get the date nailed down, we can let everybody know
Yep.
what's happening, and we'll make sure we have people stationed throughout the courthouse to make sure
yeah,
people don't go where they need to go. And I don't know if you will be available for that morning or not, Craig, but we can figure something out.
yeah.
Real quick, Monty with Clean Bright Flooring, he says the 2 available days that he has to get in there and do the floors is the 3rd or the 10th.
I think we need to go for the 3rd, that way in case we do that on the 9th, because I want those floors, I would like for those floors to be waxed before they have the
Yep.
open house.
Yeah, he just sent me that a little bit ago.
Yeah, get the ball rolling on that.
All right. Would you like to schedule a date when you want to look at the fence, or could you do that, would you like to look at it today?
I don't have a problem going over once the meeting's over, and we'll look at it real quick.
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds good.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Art
Thanks, Harvey.
and Craig.
Hey, did you get that paper signed?
Well, I think,
Oh, boy, we're behind here this morning.
A little bit.
So I got one thing, while we're talking about the courthouse.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with art. So the room in the basement that the probation has used in the past, because I was told that they keep all their, maybe even wheelbarrows and stuff like that in there. Is there going to be, There's another room, that reason I asked about that door that gets shaved off that's right inside the women's restroom. Would that make more sense to give them that room to put that stuff in so they're not tracking that stuff through on the new carpet and the new tile in the
So you
basement?
mean like in the mechanical room?
No, there's a room right in, if you come in from the outside from the women's restroom, there's a door that's got actually underneath the stairs, that's a storage room.
That's where all the Christmas
Yeah.
stuff is stored for the courthouse.
And there's not a lot of stuff in there, but I thought it would just make more sense to have any type of tools in there instead of trying to take them through into that interior room, because I'm afraid they're going to scratch walls up. I just thought it might be.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know whichever room you're referring to. I'll have to go look. Like, I don't disagree with what you're telling me, I just don't know which other room that I have missed down there.
Okay, you want to look when we go over?
Yeah, we'll go over there
run
and
down
check it
look
out.
at Okay.
Do we have a motion to sign the certificate of substantial completion? I mean, do you want to look at this, John, and make sure that this is something I should sign before
Yes.
we feel like we're fully complete?
I mean, typically,
I mean, I find,
substantial completion is when you typically move back into a location, you know, with the exception of the punch list items.
I just want to make sure I don't sign something and Verigy rolls out and says, oh, they signed it, see ya.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Well, when I got leaky pipes, again,
You know what, by all, you don't have to sign that, if you choose not to.
we'll see what my attorney says.
Release the final payment, I think. And I think there is some holdback, but I don't remember what the contract says. It's been so long since we entered into that.
If you want some more time to review it, that's perfectly okay with me.
Why don't we do that and see about
Okay.
doing it the next meeting?
All right, I'll let you just keep that, because I electronically sent it to Amy, so.
Very good.
Okay, sounds good, thanks, Art. Janine?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Janine Ostendorf, founder and president of Ripley Care. First of all, I want to thank you guys for all your time and consideration that you've had with us. We really appreciate you listening to all the problems that we are getting encountered. We understand not everybody's as compassionate about animals as I am. I totally get that. I understand that fully. But all the interaction that I am getting from residents and voters in Ripley County, I think it's time for a change. Nearly every day, somebody contacts me one way or another. We sincerely hope that those informational booklets that we gave you last meeting are going to be beneficial in some way, because we want to work together with the county. We're not working against anybody. We just want everything to come together. Our county ordinances have not been amended since 1991, animal ordinances. In your booklets that we gathered and copied, we included animal ordinances from all the other area cities.
Okay.
And they're, I just copied them and put them in the booklet, and that way you can review them. I think it would be good information as far as how we can improve our county ordinances that we are currently stand. Last Monday, was it last Monday? Last Monday, we attended Batesville City Council meeting with Payne. I'm friends with Judy Belmer. Payne is People Assisting Animals in Need, and they are also a nonprofit as well as we are. We met with the mayor and the council, and Payne, they all over there are working together to make their community healthier and safer for everybody and make it more enjoyable for everybody just to live. And this is just city limits that we're talking about. Several years ago, Payne, working with the mayor and with city council, they established an indoor-outdoor 4-kennel run in the Street Department Bay area. And they've been using that, the street department guys and the Batesville City Police, when they have a dog or a cat running at large, they pick them up and they take them to this bay area, and the Payne went in there and actually built the kennels and helped finance all that too. And so they got someplace to go with these animals. So when they pick up one that's running at large, they take it to the holding area, and the first thing they do is they scan it for a chip. If it has no chip, then they take a picture and they post it to Facebook. And they've been doing this for several years now. After it's posted to Facebook for 4 or 5 days, if they get no owner reclaiming this animal, then they put it up for adoption, or they contact rescues throughout the state and tri-state area, actually, and sometimes they go to rescues. The only time they euthanize the animals that they're picking up in the city is when it's a behavioral issue or an actual health issue or an injury that is, just they need to be put down. So they went to council and asking for $60,000. Council unanimously voted in, and they're going to have, they're adding 2 more indoor-outdoor kennels to the Bay Area. They're adding heating and cooling, hot water, and a washer and dryer. Because the people in Payne have been taking the linens and everything out of there to their own home to do the laundry and such. So they really need that in there. So they got their $60,000 on Monday night, and everybody was really happy with that. They've also, another need was that the building without heating and cooling, no climate control. We've had all this hot weather. It was like 105 inside this building the other day, and Payne members went and got the animals and took them to their own homes because of the possibility and the liability of a heat stroke with that animal that could very well belong to the mayor's granddaughter. No one knows. So we hope that Ripley County can adopt some of these changes. We are currently working with the Health Department and Ripley County Humane, and we're working towards rabies and spay-neuter clinics. We will have additional information on that when we get all the dates and times, all logistics finalized. And most recently, since July 9th, we've been working on yet another neglect/abuse case here in Ripley County. I spoke with Sheriff Bradley, Lee Davidson, and Adam Hunger. And according to IC 3546-3-05, that is described a definition of neglect. And in our Ripley County ordinances, I checked it out, and it says how you can keep a dog in a kennel in Ripley County. And it states in there that the kennel has to be secure sides with a top attached, and if it's not on concrete or some kind of flooring under the kennel, then it has to be embedded in the ground no less than a foot. And that's in our county animal ordinance. This individual that we have been dealing with is clearly in violation of those things. I mean, it's just, he's doing none of that. He has a German Shepherd with an injured foot. We offered to take the dog to the vet, pay the bill. He wouldn't let us have it. So therefore, he likes to see it suffer, evidently, I don't know. There's neighbors in the area complain to us, but they say, don't tell anybody that I told you. Don't tell anybody I told you. We hear that every time. They don't want to step up and say, hey, I know this is a problem, but I've had 4 different ones in the area tell me it's a bad problem. So that being said, it's against Indiana law. It's against his kennel, the way he's got it set up, has no shelter inside this kennel. So this little dog has been through all this torrential rain. It's been out there in blazing hot sun with the heat index being so bad over a week ago. Everybody knows how hot it was. This dog has no shelter except a horseweed that has grown up in there in that kennel. Those are the kind of things that we at CARE are seeing often. So this brings me to my question to County Attorney. How do we proceed with this? How do we keep people in our county when we got state law, we got county ordinances that he's in violation of? How do we proceed legally to try to get them dogs out of that mess they're in?
Right now, I think it would be based on the cruelty to an animal statute
Yes, it is. I mean,
and contacting the sheriff's department. If it's within the county.
we've been in contact with the sheriff's department. So in order to get this prosecuted, what do we have to do? The deputy told me, let's see, dispatch told me the deputy's been out there multiple times,
Okay.
and for different
Has
reasons.
he filed a report with the prosecutor?
I don't know if he's filed a report or not.
Typically, things are investigated, if they think it
Right.
rises to the level of it, then they put that set of facts and information in front of the prosecutor. Prosecutor would then make a determination whether or not it's sufficient to file charges.
Okay.
There's enough evidence there.
Well, it's really evident if you go look. In the past, we have had commissioners go out and look at situations, and I think that's been a
Have you
long
not
time
called
ago.
Jeff?
Jeff, you want to go out and look with me?
Jeff will go out with you.
The only thing is, the commissioners have no real,
I know.
Just don't have any authority on it.
Well, with Chuck,
Then-
what was his name, Gale Volts? Chuck Volts was commissioner years ago, many years ago. They went to the horses things with us, so, I'm just relaying that because they done that, so we're really asking for the county's cooperation.
Yeah,
We need, and we have been in contact with the sheriff's department numerous times. And, yes, I did trespass, but I went and looked before I involved the sheriff's department because they're busy, they're undermanned, they're understaffed, and they need, they got priorities. And a dog in a kennel is not their number one priority. I understand this. So I wanted to go see with my own eyes before somebody, was jumping to conclusions, because I have had people tell me about the horses on 229, and I can't bring them up because the horses are being fed and watered. There's nothing no one can do. But it's not against any law, and there's nothing you can do. Yeah, everybody complains about those horses. What I'm saying is, this case, this dog, if it gets gangrene in that foot, that he won't, let us take it to the vet and pay, we offered to pay the bill. So, we thank you again for your time and your consideration. The one thing I did not ask last meeting is, you said something about you was going to ask about the animal control, you were going to present that to council. Do you plan on, do you have an idea when you're going to present that to council?
So now, we agreed to put it in the budget for.
Okay, you're putting it in the budget for
So we
this?
added into the budget for salary for an animal control officer.
Okay, and
But
it's,
now I urge you to go to council and plead your case, and you make sure you have the sheriff on board with you, because all we can do is, we did what
Right.
we could do, put it in there, and it's up to council to whether they'll approve it or not.
okay.
So I would make sure they.
So it's going to be presented to them, you put it in as a presentation, and it'll be up to council whether or not they go with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
and budget hearings are the week of August 12th.
August, I knew it
In
was
this
coming
room.
up in August.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's already
It's already-
been submitted.
Thank you.
So it's just a matter of and I would try to maybe see when that agenda is created and get on a time slot and make the presentation to them as well.
Okay,
They would have one more meeting, they have a meeting tonight.
they have a meeting tonight.
And then would they have one more meeting before? So, yeah. it's
Tonight's
kinda-
the meeting?
Yeah, tonight's the last meeting before budgets.
I'm not on their agenda, so I guess I can go and see if they can squeeze me in.
It's either that or get on the agenda for the actual budget hearings when they sit in,
Right? Okay,
and make sure that they give you a yes or no while you're here.
Yeah,
I think you
okay.
deserve that, and I
Yes.
don't want it to be a situation to where, because they have a decision to make.
again, I want to remind you guys, there's only 3 counties in the whole state that don't have animal control, and we're the only one that's listed as a dog warden.
If we get
so.
the funding for it, I think we've agreed, we'll work with the sheriff's department and
Yeah,
figure
Sheriff
out.
Bradley told me that he's pretty on board.
Yeah.
He was, we talked to him in his office, and I gave him a copy of the Indiana Code, or actually the whole Indiana criminal law. I gave him a copy of it, and he was going to make copies and give it to his deputies.
So I didn't see anything about numbers with how many calls the sheriff's office gets for animal issues.
I haven't done,
That might be
not
some-
recently, but we done
Up-to-date
a
information.
study last winter, and in a 6-month study, there was 168 calls made in 6
So
months.
some updated information might be good for you to have available when you talk to council.
Okay,
Say, this is the amount of calls that
Right.
we've been getting, so this is why we need this person. That might be something
right,
Yep.
to
okay,
throw in there. You might work with him, try to get that.
right. Last time I worked with the guy at dispatch,
Yeah.
and he gave me that information, so we'll do that too. We
Yeah.
appreciate your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas Smith? Sorry, we're 30 minutes behind, I apologize. I appreciate you being patient. What can we help you with?
We bought our property in Osgood in 569 West County Road, 600 North.
569,
569 West County Road, 600 North.
thank you, sorry.
We bought it off of Eugene Bussell. He had 500 or 600 acres there. We bought the house and 2 acres. He divided up the rest of the property, which on the west side of us was a 50-foot egress for the neighbor on Clayton Johnson's property. When we bought our property off of Eugene Bussell, it was agreed that we allowed the farmer to use that egress for 2 years until he had a culvert installed. Clayton Johnson, I spoke with him about it. Before I could get anything out about the culvert, he went into the state, allowed him to just cut. He said he wasn't going to farm it out to rent it out to farmers. He said the state allowed him to just go around bush hogging, designate the wooded area from the field. So he did that for up until about 2015.
Because he turned it into either a reserve or a preserve,
For animals.
something
That's
to
what he
where
said, but-
it wasn't touched.
But I think the state just had him not to have the woods take over the farm field. But Robin Faust bought the property next to that. I am asking that my culvert be tied in with Matt Comer's and then it dump onto Robin Faust. Because when we first bought our property, the county came out because we had standing water on the county road. And they came out and surveyed, looked around it and said, fine, we'll make the west side of your driveway drain to the west, your east side will drain to the east. And that's all I'm trying to do is this belly in there, it just holds water. And this year is the first year I noticed that he keeps his farm equipment over the hill instead of going back and forth.
So you're asking to add culvert on somebody else's property or yours?
Well, it would be on my property. Well, Matt said earlier in the conversation that it would be nicer to have one full piece in there. But I don't see how that could be because right now it looks like it's about a 70-foot culvert and I don't know how he would get it in there.
So typically, we would get with the counties, because the county will put a culvert in.
Well, they put one in at the county line, at the county road.
Right, but they will put a culvert in on on your property to make sure it's done the way they want it done. So I would recommend to get with the county.
On the county road,
Well-
where's this is this culvert on the county road ditch?
No, it's on private property.
Well, it's on the it's a culvert to put in to get off of the road.
No, the culvert's already there.
Okay, so I guess I'm not understanding what you're asking.
Would it help to see?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Can I come
Yes, come
forward?
on. Yes, please.
Okay. And you may need to show, here's this.
This is 600 North here. This is our property here. Originally, they went down this line here. But when they got over here to survey it, my gray water out of my septic system was dumping onto his property. So the surveyor got with me and Eugene Bussell, and they racked it from the square off the road to this. And that's what this line is.
So
The culvert is in this area here. But there's a belly in the ground here, which the farmers always used this driveway, which was Eugene Bussell's at the time, and they went that way instead of churning up all this mud. Matt Comer approached me about 3 years ago and asked me if I was wanting to put a culvert in there, and that's when he suggested one piece.
come across our driveway, because
Right,
there's
yeah.
a thing across the driveway.
Our
and then keep
driveway,
going.
the culvert there is about 12 foot, and it dumps about a foot onto his property. and he suggested making it just one culvert pipe. And I don't know, I didn't know I was supposed to be the one to initiate this, because when Eugene Bustle sold the property, I just made the agreement with him that these people would put a culvert in later, but I had to let them use my driveway for a period of 2 years until they got the culvert put in.
Yes, to begin with, this driveway, for the first 2 years of us owning this house, the farmers used our driveway and went on back. And then, in our purchase agreement, it just says that they're only allowed to do that for whatever it says. Period of 2 years, and then they had to start making and using their own. Because right here, this little bit of property is what goes with all the rest of this. And Robin Fowleth lives over here. So they have this whole, whatever this is, 50 foot or whatever this.
Well, it's 50 foot
driveway.
here, but after they changed the pin, it made it probably 60 or 65.
Let me ask you this question. What's the question here? Is the question whether the culvert needs to put in, who's putting the culvert in? What can we do for you?
All the above.
Or are you even not wanting them to use your driveway?
No,
They
well,
don't use our driveway
they can't use
anymore.
it anymore because I've got a designated driveway. It's elevated with railroad ties around it,
Okay.
and then I planted trees down the property line.
Is the culvert going to benefit you?
Will benefit all three of us.
So you're just wanting permission to put a culvert in?
Well, Matt Comer knows he needs to put a culvert in. Robin Fowles is aware of it, because they all bought them off the same person, and I was hoping that Eugene Bustle would have conveyed that to you.
Right. See, I thought you was talking about out by the road.
No.
So yeah.
Matt Comer put a 50-foot piece in there, which tied to my 15-foot piece. So there's about.
So is water being backed up on your property?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
It doesn't move.
Because is where I'm getting at with our responsibility of the drainage board, okay?
Well-
Is to, like, I don't think we can force someone to put a culvert in unless water is being backed up on your property.
Well, that's what it's basically doing, because
Is that right, John? I mean, within our jurisdiction is what I'm trying to get at. What can we do to help you? I gotta figure out what we gotta fix here.
I guess the question is, I'm looking at the GIS and I'm looking at that, and it looks like this is about 200 feet south of the right-of-way.
Right.
Give or take. So it's clearly not within the county's jurisdiction. If there is a natural surface water course there
there is.
that runs, and is the ground higher than your culvert?
Well, our driveway goes over that culvert.
Okay,
The culvert's about 30 inches below my driveway,
okay.
which the driveway is pretty well,
Is the 30 inches below your driveway, is the bottom of that culvert the depth of that surface water course?
it's on top of the ground on the other side of my driveway.
No, my point is there like well, let me try to use the tools here and get some elevations.
Now you guys can go back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
In other words, is that it, kind of back where that garage is almost, or is it further back?
It's
right.
in this area right here.
Yeah,
Okay, so basically,
What
if you look at this,
yes, right there.
it's what, 200?
Well, I was
960
only like 110 feet in front of the house, and it's more or less in line with that.
I mean,
I'm just looking
so
at the
if they ever
elevations.
build anything or do anything, they're gonna have to put a culvert in of some type.
The county came out, they bought a new grade all in 91, or 92 or 93, and they came out to put it in our culvert pipe. Well, they told me at that time that I lived on the highest elevation in the area.
And it drains
So
that.
I have no problem with
From
drainage. It's the farmer going across there, I have to go on the other side and dig the dirt out every 3 or 4 years.
Is Comer not wanting to put any type of culvert in?
Well, he approached me about it, and I said, yes, I would love to have a culvert in
Okay.
But
there. And I think he's wanted to put in my head about one piece. But after they changed the survey, so my groundwater wasn't going on to somebody else's property, they changed those pins and that changed it. And Matt Comer knows about it, and I just suggested to him, well, you do the work, I'll pay for my section of pipe.
And he's
Yeah, he
not,
suggested that.
and he's not, he don't want to do that,
Well,
or?
he hasn't said yes. I haven't talked to him about 3 times.
Right.
It's 15 or 16, whenever he was.
So like, yeah, like you said, it's out of the county jurisdiction, so whatever you guys can work out is fine to do.
Yeah, well, it's in our paperwork, that's what they're supposed to do. I'm just asking the county to help me, or to back me up.
So I guess until, I mean, I guess we really don't have a say, even if he don't want to do it, do we,
You
John?
don't. I'm looking at the elevations here, and again, this is GIS, this is not an engineer out there.
Because our jurisdiction comes in if, let's say he just went out and said, I'm not putting a culvert, dammed up the ravine and all that water sat on your side, right? Now we have jurisdiction from a water board to say, no, you can't do that. I can't
Well-
force somebody, I don't think I can force somebody, I mean, that's really the control we have as the drainage board.
With the tractors moving back and forth through all that heavy equipment and clogging it, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not allowing anything to move. We've got water on this side of the driveway, we got water on this side of the driveway, and it's not moving. And we've been out there 3 times probably in the last 3 years, taking chains underneath of there and getting dirt out and trying
Yeah.
to,
Because when it comes down off the driveway, it kind of just pools there, and then it kind of backs up, and then.
See, and that's a drainage board issue,
and then
okay?
our driveway from the street comes this way and then goes this way.
Yeah.
Right here is a well. We literally drain that well and keep it drained in order to get the water out of our yard. I mean, it's crazy.
So
And we're
I
just
would-
not sure what to do.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like if they said they're gonna do something and they know it, I would ask them to do that. Like, have that communication.
Well, I wasn't aware that when we signed the papers, I thought that the other 2 property owners would have to approach me or the county. I didn't know that I had to initiate this because I was the first one to buy property out of the bustle parcels. And I thought, well, it's all said and done, I got the culvert pipe, they need to tie in with me to build a road there. And I don't know.
But they didn't build, you know, they didn't do anything other than drive up and down the grass.
Yeah.
And for years, when the farmers were coming onto any of the sides of our property, they didn't even put in a culvert. They were just driving from the road into the fields, and it screwed up everything. So we begged and said, we need culverts, because,
Well, the water, with a half-inch rainfall, there would be half-inch water sitting on the road. And at that time, when we purchased it in 91, it was a gravel road. Was no ditches or anything. That's like I said, in 92 or 93, they bought a new grade all, and they designated my property as the highest point in that area. The west side of the driveway drains west, the east side drains east on the county road.
But they're driving through this easement
Right.
area without a road being there and water's being backed up because of.
Well, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's really an easement anymore. He has.
That's his property.
He's got access and road frontage of his own.
yes.
But the statute regarding obstructing a natural surface water course also indicates that if somebody didn't dump something there intentionally to block the water, the cost of the removal can be on the person who's complaining about it.
Well, he's not dumping any dirt
Right.
or anything.
So-
Yeah, it's just the idea that he's going back and forth.
He's using the land for what it's supposed to be. Drive across, farm it, get
It's
in,
his
ingress,
property.
ingress.
That's the same way with my driveway. I have to drive over my culvert to get to my house.
So it really sounds like this is something where if I were in your shoes, you'd reach out to Matt Cummer and you'd try to negotiate some sort of a deal where if Matt is willing to put something in, obviously he's gonna wanna wait till better, drier
Well, yeah,
conditions.
I mean-
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you don't wanna dig in this clay soil
God,
when
no.
it's wet. It just makes everything so much more
Mess.
difficult to work with. But attaching a drainage culvert to yours and then outletting it to the next lowest location, yeah, it's probably the wisest thing to do.
Yeah, because,
But unfortunately, that's not within the commissioner's powers or parameters of authority.
And I have one question while we're here. The culverts on both sides of at the street, they were just kind of dropped in there. Are they okay?
The county put the culvert in.
Okay,
ours.
I couldn't remember.
They
I
put-
know.
They put it,
And we do that so that way these issues don't arise, so it kind of falls back on, we would rather put in every culvert,
well, it's like what she was.
so that way we know it's done right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When we.
But within our, on our road access either.
Right.
You know.
Because when we had the culvert put in by the county, I asked them to take their big bucket. I wanted like a 3-foot ditch in it, because it was level with the road, and I didn't want people just driving off the road and coming back on the road.
That's what was happening with the farmers. They were just driving
So I
across.
asked for like a 3-foot ditch just to deter people from driving off the road and just going around somebody that broke down or whatever reason. And
I mean, I think the easiest solution to your problem is try to get with them and say, hey, if this water's being backed up, and, it'd really help if you guys could put a culvert in here to get the water taken care of. I mean, if that doesn't happen, then I don't know if you can prove that the water's, because they're driving through there and the flow of water's not, and we get pictures, then you can file a complaint with the drainage board and go through that process. But I think before you spend the $50 or whatever the fee is to make that complaint, it might just be better just to work with them and saying, hey, this is a problem, this is something that was
Been a
agreed to, I told you I'd buy the culvert, you put it in, or I'll split the difference, or whatever. I think that's gonna be your best solution to the problem.
Okay.
I agree with
Just
that.
work with Matt, or just get with Matt and see what he's willing to do.
Right.
Yeah, and then go from there.
Because Clayton Johnson, I don't think he lied to me, but it was just a far-fetched story that he had a reserve and all he had to do was bush hog it like 2 swipes around the tree line, but I think that was just to keep trees from going into the farm.
Yeah. I mean, it should be, there's the maintain, I mean, they want access to that field, they need to make sure that it's being maintained. So,
Well, appreciate your time.
yes.
All right.
Very much
Coming
so,
in.
'cause we
Yep.
Thank you.
just weren't sure what to do or how to go about. Whoa.
Yeah, no, it's, like I said, and if nothing gets taken care of, and then water's getting backed up, take some pictures, keep those, and then that will give you a leg to stand on, because we only intervene when we know and have pictures, and the surveyor comes out, and they look at it. And
Because our culvert that runs underneath the driveway back, not on the road,
It's
but
about
back
120 feet.
where we're talking about, on both sides of it, there's water standing.
Yeah,
What's the sense of a culvert if it's not got
yeah.
a place to go? And it used to, but it don't now. Now that all the tractors and everything, all that heavy equipment is shoved, I guess, the ground down. Yeah,
Yeah, because they're going across the ditch, and it's creating the ruts, and that's,
All right, thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Steve?
Yes.
Welcome. How do you pronounce your last name?
Jarger,
Okay,
I'm with the Verdon Company.
okay.
What company is that?
Verdon, Vertin. Here to talk about the clocks and bells at the courthouse.
Okay.
So I do have some information here. I have my proposal in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the proposal, email folders, but the proposal, I want to have pictures that I took in '23, along with some other information, but the fact that the Verdon Company, we're a family-owned business out of Cincinnati. We've been around since 1842. We've actually been working on the courthouse clock here since 1932. So our records are pretty extensive.
You remember that?
I don't. One of the cool things of working, just working on clock towers and bells is fun. It's just a neat business. But looking through these records and trying to figure out what happened over 100 years ago is always kind of interesting and fun. But the fact is, you guys,
We were last here for service in 2008.
When?
In 2008.
Okay.
In 1999, we installed the existing clock timepieces. Prior to that, there was a mechanical clock, and there's pictures in my proposal of that mechanical clock that's still in there. That clock, it's like a big grandfather clock, that originally there were weights. So somebody had to climb into the tower and wind these weights. I don't know if it was weekly or every couple days, but the weights actually drove the gears that kept the tower clock running. And in 1932, there were 4 bells purchased by a company called Van Dusen, who was also in Cincinnati. It was not, Verdon actually bought Van Dusen later, but the Van Dusen company built the 4 bells, and those bells were installed, and Verdon actually installed the bells. So that's how we started. We installed the bells, and we installed linkage to have those bells do the Westminster chime off of the clock. So basically at 12 o'clock noon, the 16 notes of the Westminster chime would play, followed by 12 strikes on the biggest bell. And it would do that every hour, obviously. So anyway, in 1999, that clock, the gearing and everything was all just worn, and those mechanical clocks are notoriously just problematic. They're just hard to maintain. They're kind of neat pieces. But 4 individual timepieces were put on each clock face. So instead of one clock that drove all 4 sides, there's an individual timepiece in there. And at that time in 1999, the bells were basically taken out of commission because the bells operated off of these big gravity hammers that required mechanical linkage from the clock to strike. So that was all taken out. I came here in 23 and met with
Chris Schmaltz.
Chris Schmaltz, yeah. Went up in the tower. So most of those pictures in there are from that meeting that I had when I went up there. And I understand you guys have you're going to have the building scaffolding soon and having some work done to the outside.
Yes.
So one of the things that I want to just bring to your attention, the clocks themselves, the clock dials, they're these big steel frames that they're sectional dials. So there's acrylic glass in each of those sections. That acrylic is designed you can actually remove it on the inside, so you don't need to get to the outside of the building. And the big thing is the clock hands are on the outside of the building. So if we have to replace the clock hands, which we would with new timepieces, or if those clock hands get out of whack and need to be reset, basically you can deglaze or cut out one section of that center section, reach your hands in, get the clock hands, and do what you need from inside the tower. So when I was there in 23, I was able to inspect. On the inside, the dials look in pretty decent shape, but they've been heavily caulked and heavily painted. So I really can't tell what the metal underneath is like, and I have absolutely no idea what the metal on the outside of it is. When it's scaffolded and you're basically getting clad put on the outside of it, or you're doing that, whoever's doing that should also make sure that those dials are properly sealed. And if necessary, if it's steel, that metal should probably be painted. The acrylic, I think, is fine, but I just have no idea what the outside of those dials look like, or what kind of condition that's in. But I've seen situations where if that's not sealed properly on the outside, water will get inside the wall, and you have very serious problems when that kicks in. So I'm not sure what the scope of work with those other folks are. Verdon, we really want to take care of the bells and the clock equipment. We're not contractors.
Not waterproofers?
We don't want to get into that. It's just not our area of expertise.
So is it fair to say we probably need to check with Craig and make sure that the scope of work clearly states?
And I don't think it did. I don't think it included, I thought the scope of work went to the ring that went on the outside diameter of the clock. I don't think the clock face or nothing, that's where you're talking about.
That is correct. So the ring, that's the biggest problem where water could come in, and they should take care of that. It's the sectional dials, there's the sections that the acrylic fits into from the inside, but there's also pieces on the outside that have the numerals and the tick marks. That just needs to be cleaned and painted. That's pretty simple, unless it is so rusted through that's problematic, but they look good from the ground. I don't anticipate there being any problems or anything seriously, problematic with that stuff. But that just needs to be cleaned and painted. But yeah, just making sure that seal from the outside is tight.
I talked to Craig about that seal. I'm pretty sure it's in the scope to seal
Yeah.
that ring.
Yeah. And then what we propose, what we would like to do, because those timepieces, one of the things with these individual timepieces is it gets really difficult to keep them in sync. And right now, none of your clocks are operating properly. I don't know if any of them are moving. I know none of them are showing the right time. And I believe they're showing 4 different times right now.
Right, yeah.
So,
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
exactly. What we would propose is to replace that with a single timepiece that would be installed where the old 4-way gearbox was, and then there would be drive rods and stuff extending out to each of the clock hands or to the clock dials, and then new clock hands would be put on, and that'll be easier to keep track of and keep control of. The proposal that I put in there, to get down to the real basics, is at $59,900, we would replace the individual timepieces with a single timepiece with 4-way gearbox. We would also install 4 VO strikers one for each of the bells. And those strikers would then, the new control system that would also be part of this, would operate both the clocks and the bells, and you would get back to having those 4 bells play your Westminster chime. You, of course, can choose when it starts and stops each day. You could play the hour strikes every hour, or you could do quarter-hour chimes or half-hour chimes, however you feel. They're really neat bells. That big bell's a 1,500-pound bell. It's a monster. It would sound fantastic. Bronze bells are remarkably durable. I tell people all the time, you guys have done a nice job taking care of the courthouse. The bells will outlast the building. The bronze is virtually indestructible. We take bronze bells out of buildings all the time. They can be reused. It's a really nice set of bells that you guys have. And I think it's a bit of a shame that they've been over 25 years since they've actually played. It would be nice to have those bells playing again. My proposal does back out that, because when I met with Chris in '23, the thought was just to get the clocks working and not the bells. So I did leave in there an option to take the bell work out of the project. The other thing that I put in as an option is to add LED backlighting. So right now, in the ceiling at the clock level, there is some sort of, I don't know who put this in, but it's like a spotlight. They're LED spotlights that fire out and basically backlight the dials. I don't know how good those look or how well that works. We weren't involved with that. We're not involved. It's a little picture. I can probably get you a bigger picture. But,
Yeah, I see it. It's been a while. I went up there years ago.
yeah. What we typically like to do with LED kits is we actually hang a kit, backlights, much closer to the dials. It allows more even lighting of the dials, and it's just a little bit easier to see and work if you need to. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the clock dials are in pretty good shape as far as I can tell from the inside. They're great. I mean, they're big clocks. They're 7-foot, they're almost 8-foot dials. You don't necessarily realize that when you look at it from the ground, but you climb up in the tower as you have, they're big. It's a big piece, and it's heavy machinery that we put up there. So that's, I don't want to, I'm not sure how much time you all have. I know you guys are backed up here, but I've tried to, in my proposal, give you a good understanding of the history on what's happened. I've never really received a scope of work on what you all were looking for from us, but I think getting the clocks working is the best solution for everybody. And I think having it play would be a nice.
You have 2 options on here.
Yes.
Okay. And you're saying really nothing that we would do over there, the scaffolding and all that isn't going to make a darn bit of difference on what you do? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we should be able to access the clock hands from inside the tower.
Okay.
The one thing I will say about that, so if you look at the picture of,
Give me a page number,
yeah,
please.
if you look at on page number 4, you can see the center section. It's actually, there's the center ring, there's actually 3 sections of glass. You only see one of them in there because the corner's blocking it.
Okay.
But we should be able to take one of those out.
Okay,
And then when we take that out, we can then access the clock hands.
okay,
That acrylic, I mean, it's probably a 1/4 inch or maybe a little thicker than 1/4 inch acrylic. It's going to be brittle today, or more brittle than when it was new. We don't know exactly, we did not put that in. I'm guessing it's somewhere between 25 and 50 years of age. If it's cracked coming out, we're not going to be responsible for that. We think we should, and we can replace those pieces. That's not really a big deal. But if we replace those pieces, it might not be an exact match in color. It's an opaque white acrylic, and there's years of use on those. If you look at courthouse clocks, you'll see a lot of times, you'll see where the sections are slightly different. One might look a little grayer or a little bit less white than others, and that's because those pieces have been replaced at various times.
So if there was scaffolding there, would you utilize it and do it from the outside? Or
If
would you-
we could access the hands, so we could actually replace the hands from the outside and not have to mess with opening up those.
Because that's kind of where all this started.
Yes.
We thought we were going to have scaffolding there, and if it could save us some money
Yeah.
to work on them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this, obviously, if this, in my opinion, it sounds to me like this should wait until it's all done, with the exception of whether we use that scaffolding or not. Do you not agree with that? I mean, I don't know if this is something we want to do in conjunction with.
Well, he doesn't know if the hands even need replaced, right?
No, we would replace
They
them.
would have to
You
be.
do?
Yeah, so the timepiece, the hands are geared to the timepiece, so replacing the timepiece would require the hands to be replaced. And they would look exactly the same. We built those hands back in '99, they would be the exact same style and
So
everything.
if there's no scaffolding there, you would pull one piece of acrylic out of all 4 clocks to get in and
Correct.
access it from the inside. So that's
Yeah.
the only drawback is whether that acrylic section would have to be replaced.
and I mean, yeah.
And is that an extra once it breaks?
It would be, yes. Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? Like estimate, just like, I'm not.
So the bigger problem would be, we would need to, we would either need to, well, actually, let me check something here. I apologize, I don't know this off the top. It's the piece would have to be cut specially, because we don't know exactly what that size is.
Yeah,
And so it's a matter of the labor of going back and forth, and we don't want to leave a big hole in the side of the building for a period of time. So you're probably looking in the neighborhood of $300 to $400 plus labor.
okay. See, well, I was just, it's
It-
not
it's not-
50,000.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a huge amount. I mean, it's just a piece of acrylic. It's
Yeah.
1/4 inch acrylic.
I mean, yeah,
Well, what's your estimated time?
So the thing is, when we get a
I'm talking about
contract
to
in,
get that piece made back and forth, whatever.
probably.
2 days?
No, it'd be 30 to 45 days probably.
No, I mean, how much charge, you said plus labor.
Oh, it would be just a day. It would-
Okay.
About $1,300
Okay,
is our
so
day-
there
is
you
our
go.
day rate, yeah.
Okay. Plus the piece of glass or ceramic.
Yeah.
So it's the option 1, 4-way central timepiece, clock and hands,
Yes,
4 VO bell strikers,
correct.
and control system,
Yes.
okay? That's,
And just so there's a brochure in there, bell ringing brochure. The chime frame, this would basically be what it would look like on the cover. There would be one of those for each bell. That's what the VO striker is.
So now is this a project that somebody thought they would be able to come up with some money to help pay for that?
as far as the bells go, yes, Chris Schmaltz and the group of people in the community wanted to see if they could raise money to do that. I think we were gonna see what it was gonna take to do the clocks. That's what I was getting. So clock renovation.
Is option 2 there, yeah.
Yeah, to get the clocks, which is something that is our, you know, attached to our building, is coming in at the price of $41,900. Is that fair to say?
That is correct, yeah.
So basically, if we were to add the bells to it, $18,000 is
Yeah.
what would need to be raised if the bells got it. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If we were just to do the clocks,
Yeah.
I mean, how much more work would it be if we didn't do it now, but then we got the money raised for the $18,000?
It would probably be in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $5,000 more. It's setting up the labor,
staging and that type-
staging and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff, yeah.
And all of that work can be done through the access from inside.
Yes, we would haul everything up. Now, one thing I do want to point out, our work does not include the electrical work.
Okay.
With the clocks,
Or
there's
crane
real-
or scaffolding
Right,
or
so yeah.
man lift or any of that kind of
I
stuff.
see that.
yeah. So, but the electric, assuming we can use the inside panels to get it, we don't need the scaffolding, so.
I think there's enough electric there. When I asked Craig, I thought,
There is, yeah, but, so there's an electric panel that has basically the relays and the switches for both the bells and the clocks. That panel, we will build that panel. We're not licensed electricians. Your electricians need to take that panel out, the old panel out, and put the new one in. It's not a huge electrical work, and all the wiring should also be looked at. The electric now is going to the old mechanical clock. That's where that's at I'm sorry, no, you've got the individual timepieces, but they're at each dial. We would basically need the electric pulled back from those to the center of the room, because that's where the new central timepiece would go. It's not a huge amount, but again, we're not allowed to run that conduit, that kind of stuff. We're not licensed for that stuff.
you don't have to be licensed in Ripley County.
We're not going to do that work without license.
Okay.
And then if the bell work were done, that would actually require more electric, because wiring needs to go to each of the 4 bells, which does not.
So do you provide prints to us?
We would, absolutely, we would do electrical riser and drawings for.
So we could actually get a quote, so we could know what that's
Absolutely.
going to cost?
Yeah.
Taylor's wants to know, would the gear pieces have value? Could the county sell them?
The mechanical clock, I don't know that there's a whole lot of value. It's really a neat piece. The problem is physically, there's not a lot of money. I mean, scrap, there's enough metal in there, there's some scrap value to it. As far as an art piece or something like that, yeah, people might be interested in it. I know a couple counties down in Kentucky I used to work at, they had us pull one of those down, and they kind of cleaned it up. It just sits in their lobby as an art piece, for lack of better terms. Like I said, they are really neat, but there aren't many people that would work on those anywhere in the country, and there's really nobody that wants to put those up.
But would you leave it up, would you leave it up there?
Absolutely.
Right, so getting it out of there would be a big deal.
We would take it out for you, but it would cost a lot more than $40,000.
That's what I mean.
Well, I mean, yeah, getting that out would be problematic. And now, if you really wanted to get it out of there, you'd really need a lift or a crane to get it out. And I'm not sure how we'd physically get it out of that spot, because the clock is actually below the bells. So there's no door or window or anything like that to get it in there.
I think we need to put a camera up there, whenever the bells get done, they can watch the bells being dinged.
That could be.
They can go online and watch it.
Yep, it's a cramped,
Yeah.
The other thing is, and nobody knew, there's a smaller bell, a 26-inch bell up there, which I sort of suspect, and it's just my guess, might have been in there before 32, and that would have been the only bell it was rope pulled bell.
Yeah, that was probably the original
It was
one.
probably the
because
original
we do know
bell.
that when this was put in, somebody locally paid for it and put it in there.
Yeah, right.
And donated it to the town,
Yeah.
which the town has now donated the bells. to.
Yes, yeah, because our original contract was with the town, it
Yeah.
wasn't with the county. So,
Yes.
But yeah, it's, that little 26-inch bell, I mean, it's, again, how you get it out of there would be problematic, and I don't know, the other 4 bells, quite frankly, are just better quality bells. They're just newer and in better shape, so I would, and they're tuned to play the Westminster chime, which is what you want on a big courthouse clock.
Do we know the group that Mr. Schmaltz was supposed to be with?
I'm almost to the point to where we ought to just see if we can apply for a Rising Sun Foundation grant for the $18,000 and
Do
just,
it for all of it, why don't you
Right,
try
yeah,
to-
I mean, I like the,
Yeah.
yeah, I like the thought of having the lights. I mean, if I was gonna do it.
yeah, and just do it right.
Do the lights.
Like, I don't know when the next grant cycle is, but
But the
I-
only difference on the lights is they're just closer to the outside. We got the LED there.
I'm curious, what about the Tyson Fund, Gilmore Golden Reynolds, Ripley County Community Foundation?
yeah, I mean, it's,
This is kind of a big part of Ripley County, so to speak.
Yeah.
And on that proposal, I believe the very last page, I think it's, yeah, page 16, that's just an example of what what we propose. That's the 4-way clock. That's sort of how, or that's how that would look when we redid it. And that particular installation, their mechanical clock was all the way up in the same, it was level with the dials. So we built the platform for that 4-way timepiece on top of it. In your case, the clock is actually 2 decks below the clocks, and then there's linkage that went up. But there's a small frame up there that holds that 4-way gearbox. So we basically just be putting the new 4-way timepiece in place of that gearbox. And that particular image also, you can see the LED light kit that we hang behind the back of the dial.
and which page is that? I'm sorry.
That's on page 16.
Last one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Part of our proposal, we would, as I was there in '23, I got rough measurements and a general lay of the land, if you will. But we would, once we get a contract, we would schedule a serviceman to come out. He would probably spend the better part of a day in the tower taking detailed measurements, because when we build this in Cincinnati, we'll ship it out here, it's got to fit perfect, or it's got to go back to
So
Cincinnati.
you said you was here in '23.
I was here in
Did you give a quote in '23?
I did provide a quote to Chris at the time, yeah.
Okay, so is that the quote?
Oh, yeah, that's void, yeah, I mean, our quotes are good for about 90 days.
I'm just curious, how much it went up since '23?
I think it went up about $7,000.
I wouldn't,
Yeah,
I don't even recall receiving it, honestly, when Chris was.
It was 31 something, wasn't it?
You know what, I did not bring that with me.
33,100, I thought.
Okay, yeah, I did not bring that old quote with me, but I can pull that out and figure that out, but,
This is what you sent me before.
the letter that was in there? Yeah.
I mean, I think we ought to just,
You had 33,100 and then 18,800 and 12,530 is what you sent
Okay.
on email.
I'm sure those were accurate numbers, I mean, I'm not,
Yeah. So honestly, I don't think, this is not going to happen in 90 days.
oh, I
So,
understand.
So, I mean, you would probably want to requote, get us final numbers, but I think we need to decide, how much money where we're going to try to come up with the money at if we decide to do it.
I think
Yep.
the clock and the bells, maybe we ought to go ahead and okay and then try to raise money by the time it's done. Because otherwise, if just by chance we'd need the scaffolding, it'll be there.
I think what you're saying there is trying to make sure that you can do this within the same period of time as that scaffolding.
Yeah.
Before it's taken down, even if
I
there's some
mean, it's
additional
either,
cost. for
is
them
it
to
either
take.
that, or do we just say, you know what? we're gonna cover this out of our budget, and it is what it is because it's for the historical side of it. Like, I mean, do we wanna say like, you know what, let's just do it right, let's just bite the bullet within our budget and do it?
I think so, but if somebody wants to contribute to it, let them.
What's the time frame? If we said we was going to do this, when would you get to it?
We would probably, our service right now is about 30 to 45 days out, so we need to schedule that service visit first. Once we do that, we're going to need probably 45 to 90 days to build the equipment, and then reschedule, or then schedule the installation after that.
And we don't even know for sure whether we will be able to use the scaffolding, if they will, because we've never even confirmed that with the scaffolding company.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, I mean, if we can't use the scaffolding, if they're not allowed to, then I don't know that it would make sense to try to get it done in conjunction with.
The other thing I will say is, just, I don't think,
October is the next grant
Yeah.
cycle.
there's you can get an articulating lift that could get you to those dials. I don't think renting that would be tremendously expensive. It would be a lot cheaper than scaffolding. But one thing I absolutely wanted to just make sure is just whoever the contractor is that's doing the work outside, I just want to make sure that those dials are properly taken care of.
But that's not something you do or you would oversee, correctly?
No.
I mean, correct?
Yeah.
So I guess we need to find somebody that makes sure that gets done right, because
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Craig or who it is, but we need to make sure it's prepared the proper way.
All
to
three
where
of us going up there while the scaffolding is up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you provide us photos when it's
Amy's
up there,
invited.
we'll be glad to,
Okay, all right.
work with you. We do a Zoom call or a Teams call. I'd have somebody from the factory talk to you about it. But like I said, the real simple thing, every clock is unique. So exactly how that's sealed out, I don't know until you see it. But what I do know, and I don't know a lot about roofing, but I know water runs downhill, and we don't want water running into the building.
So we should be able to clarify that with Kramer if they're going
Yeah.
to seal the actual clock.
And then the visible part of the dials, the numerals and so forth on the outside, those rings and tail marks, that just needs to be cleaned and painted. It's steel, and it
But who
will
are we gonna have
rust.
do that? Kramer? It's not in their bid
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah.
They're not touching that clock except the seal, as far as I know.
And ultimately, that's what needs to be done, is paint
Yeah.
it.
And there does need to be
change orders
concern
to be
with
Yeah.
not breaking the acrylic when that's done, but
Is the acrylic on the outside of the hands, or?
it's on the inside. Well, so you got the metal frame, and then the acrylic is like a glass pane. It is installed from inside. So basically, it's glazed on the, it could be glazed from the inside to hold it in place.
So is the acrylic piece inside the diameter, it's inside the numerals?
Yes, yeah, the numerals are outside. So you
Right,
get
so
the numerals,
the
then you get
ring,
yeah.
so when you look at the ring that's directly inside of the numerals, that's the acrylic panels he's talking about pulling out.
Yeah.
There'd be 4 of those there. So it's the white area between the shaft for the dials and the ring that goes right before the numerals.
But do they need glazed outside after you remove it?
No,
Water won't get in there and freeze and crack something?
no, because it's glazed. As long, you get the metal frame, as long as that metal frame is protected against the building, if it's placed from the inside properly, all it's going to do is go, I guess it could get between the acrylic and that, but that's not going to cause any problem. That's not, we would see that rot, if at a point when that a skeleton dial starts to rust out, that's when you would look at that, but that's not the case right now.
Well, I'm just wondering if you didn't get enough sealant on the outside and the water gets in between it, but when water freezes, it will expand and break.
It will, yeah.
something. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I've never seen that, or that's not,
Okay.
never, I'm not sure the exact procedure on how they do, on how that's sealed up, but, I mean, this is the way these skeleton dial clocks have been like this for hundreds of years. That's why they've always done that, so. And
The thing is, I mean, at the end of the day, I think is what we don't have figured out. We need to confirm that Kramer's gonna seal the outside, right? And
Yeah.
then we need to make sure that it gets painted.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a full renovation of the dials would mean cutting out all the acrylic and then having the entire frame prepped and cleaned and painted. I don't think those dials are in a condition that requires that at this point.
Right.
Okay.
But I've not seen them from the outside, you know, and like I said, it's, somebody cleaned and painted them.
What if we got a drone to go up there and take a real close picture?
Yeah, that would certainly help, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, any images would help, so.
I was going to point out just a couple of things. These are all things after, but this could be programmed to where it doesn't actually chime during the day, or you don't get
That is
8, 9, 10, 11 bells, because that could be disruptive to the
Yes.
cords.
Right, yeah.
During
Absolutely.
business hours, but certainly weekends, early evenings.
The controller.
I think if you're gonna have them, you might as well just
Yeah.
have them all the time.
I honestly, I believe, I'm not positive, I'm not an expert on those old mechanical clocks. I think that old mechanical clock played the quarter-hour strikes, and it did so 24/7. Like, there was no way of turning it off.
Changing it.
The digital controller that we propose will give you, you can have a different schedule every day if you want.
Says virtually unlimited capacity to program, says it right there.
Yeah, but you can also, with that, you'll be able to do funeral tolls. So, you know, courthouses, a lot of times, if it was a dignitary from within the city or the county passed, it would be common to play a funeral toll for that person. Presidents, senators, sometimes they'll do that. You would have the ability to do that. That can be scheduled, or you can play it instantly from the console. You would also have the ability to do a peal. These bells are not swinging bells, they're stationary, but you would have the ability to do an imitated swing where the bells struck hard and soft, and each of the 4 bells would play at a different cadence, because large bells swing slower than small bells. So the small bell is just struck. So when you hear a peal of bells playing, like churches most commonly, a joyous sound, you would have the ability to do that. Courthouses don't typically play peals that much, but if you wanted to for joyous occasions, that could be, you could have a peal play.
So are these controlled wirelessly, or is there a wired to a controller?
No, so the electric panel that we put in, that's all the hard wiring goes in there. Then a low voltage cable will go, and that the DBC 870, the brochure is in there. That would need to be installed somewhere that's of convenience for the end user, a utility closet or something like that. It's going to be a lot bigger than those. It's, I think.
Well, I mean, but it would be hardwired up to the top.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it
Everything's
would have to be
hardwired.
somewhere where we could get wiring up there to it, so.
Yeah. But so the controller, it's low voltage to the electric panel,
Yeah.
and the electric panel is all
Yeah.
high voltage.
And is the clock based off the atomic clock, or do you have to actually set it from time to time? And if the electric goes off, is there battery backup?
So the great question. The digital clock controller does have a battery backup. So it's not driving the clock, but if you lose power for an hour, when power is restored, it'll reset to the correct time. That clock is a freestanding clock. It may need to be adjusted periodically. That clock can be connected to your network. If you connect it to your network, it will verify once a day that its time is accurate and correct itself automatically if you want to. There's no cost for that. We just need a network feed to that controller. Does that answer that question?
I think so. Yeah.
And it will also, it'll adjust for daylight savings.
That's what I was getting ready to say, daylight savings time.
And we've learned a few things in the last 180 years. If the government decides that they do away with daylight savings again, you can take that feature off.
Yeah.
We've got customers that are using old systems. They have to change the clock 4 times a year now because it's still changing daylight savings time based on the old daylight saving. You know, it's 2 weeks difference. So,
Then my last point for the commissioners, the proposal calls for an upfront payment at the execution of this.
yeah.
State Board of Accounts really frowns and does not allow
Right.
for us to make payments until there's a delivery of materials.
Yeah.
Unless it's something very specialty like licensing and things like that for software. So I don't know how much of an issue that would be.
The thing for us is we are a specialty product. If we could do process billing where we can bill part of it. But the fact is, we've got to order all the materials in and then build that equipment. So, our price is based on us having, we got to pay off our vendors as well. So that's why we do it that way. So it's a very simple we ask for half up front and half afterwards, but we could.
I don't think we can legally do that.
Okay. But you would provide a PO?
Yes, we would provide a purchase order.
Yeah, so I'll check with ownership, but I don't think that's as long as we've got a valid PO, that's basically as good as cash for.
When the material's delivered, then we can pay you half of it, and then when the project.
But it needs to be
finished-
it needs to be delivered here, though.
Correct.
So when we receive it in Cincinnati, you're not going to pay for it until we deliver it to you.
Yes.
And then, I'll
If you
check
guys
that.
have done business in Indiana for any
Absolutely.
county government that
Yeah.
was direct, you have dealt with the same issue.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So what we'd probably do if we did that, we'd probably, when we do the survey, we would want to do we'd do a bill for that labor on that. So that's why I said process.
Yeah, I mean,
Process
obviously it
billing.
can be pay as you go.
Yeah,
For any services or
right,
materials.
against a
provided.
PO, yeah, and that's how we would do that.
Yeah.
So we'll be fine with that. And we understand that you may not sign our terms and conditions, you'll send us a contract with your terms and conditions, and
I don't know that I see anything wrong with that, other than that portion of it.
okay. And I'm not privy to make those changes, but you make those changes on that contract and
How hard would it be to put the lighting in later?
not difficult. Again, it's
As long as we had the electric there.
Yeah, the issue is more is the labor, getting us out here and setting everything up again is more of the issue.
Well, it should just have to mount the light and
Yeah.
plug it in,
Well,
basically.
it's hardwired, it's not plugged in.
Well-
Yeah, but yes, yeah, you're right, it's not.
So what do we want to do today, guys? Do we want to table this? Do we want to figure out how to pay for a
Well,
portion of it? Do we
See
want
how
to
we
see
can
if
pay for it first, I guess.
I mean, I don't know.
It's only July, and you guys don't have a lot of money left in the building repairs and stuff if something would happen. I'm just going that route.
Yeah.
I mean, you do what you want to do, but
When they go up there and do the work and we have to pay you, how much is that estimating going to be costing us?
The survey? Survey's $1,300.
$1,300?
Yeah.
So then, how many days or months will it be before we would receive to pay you, when we receive the stuff? How many, is it a month out?
Oh, yeah, so when we send an invoice, it's net 30 days, so when we invoice,
Okay,
yeah. And that would be probably in the neighborhood of 90 days or so.
90 days out from the survey?
Yes.
Okay. So that
Actually, I say 90 days
that
from the
gives us
survey.
three.
It's really 90 days from the submittal drawings. So once we do the survey, then we can do submittal drawings, get your approval on those, and then it'll be 90 days for actual production.
Okay, actual production to build it.
Yes.
But then when would it get delivered?
When everything's, yeah, so when we send an invoice, it's net 30 days.
Right, but I'm trying to find out when we would have to pay you for the equipment once it receives here, half of it.
30 days from that period.
yeah, but he's asking like if we signed a contract today, like about the time frame of when that would be.
Oh,
If we signed the contract today, he's asking like when will the first payment be due, estimated wise, you think?
approximately 90 days after the survey, so,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so we got 3 months there. That'll be
And I
August,
understand that,
September, October.
I'm just telling you as the auditor, in your building improvements, in your building repairs in Riverboat, you have no money left. In your building repair and improvement in Riverboat, you have 84,000. In your Cume Cat building repair, you have 56, but we're not using any of that, because that's where I pay first things out of.
Okay.
In your edit building repairs, you only have 180. And only reason why I'm telling you this is because it's only June,
Right.
or July, sorry.
Okay, my next question. Once you receive it, how long will it be before final payment would be given to us to pay you? Will it be after the first of the year? Because you got 2 months,
Yeah,
November, December.
yeah. Again, it would be after completion. So one of the questions, if you want us to stage this so that it fits into your budget calendar better, we're glad to do that. But we typically, we do it as, you know, we process it as quickly as we can.
Right.
Is our, but if
Right,
you
I'm
want
just
to-
trying to get a timeline to where it might end up before we need the
Yeah.
final payment.
So it would, I would say probably 120 to 140 days from the submittal drawings is probably where that would be.
Okay,
Because in my understanding, that doesn't include any electrical work that you
Right,
need to have done.
no.
Yeah, there's a lot, I think there could potentially could be quite a bit more money involved here based
Yeah,
on what
I mean,
we're responsible.
I'm just trying to make sure you,
Yeah.
I think the electrical Craig could probably handle, but just,
And I
just to move the boxes and wiring up closer, it's already in the tower.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to decide, do we want to do the whole deal? Or do we want to find another way to pay for it? That's ultimately it. I think it's silly with how much money that has been spent on that building and going into the tower. It's silly not to fix the clock. I think the bells are kind of would be really cool to have going, but I don't know if $18,000 is me to say that it'd be really cool to say I got the bells working for $18,000, but I don't think it's a must.
People probably will notice the bells working more than they will the clocks working.
I
If
agree.
people are watching this video, I would love for them to help me with the decision. If they want me to spend $18,000 to get the bells going, then I'll find a way.
I'll find a way.
But, I
I
mean,
mean,
'cause
if we go with the lights and the bells, you know, it's 72, I guarantee you it's gonna cost us 80 plus by the time we pay for everything else. And it-
Ask the town board of sales
Yeah.
if they'd like to throw any money back at that.
Yeah, that depends if them.
well,
It was.
well, let me ask you this. Doesn't one of the churches already have time bells in town?
Yeah,
Will this mess with that if all of a sudden now the courthouse bells start chiming?
No, because they're not that close. You know, if the bells are playing simultaneously, if you're closer to the courthouse, you're going to hear the courthouse bells more than you're going to hear the church bells. I'm not sure, do you hear the church bells from the courthouse is sort of the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a block away.
Yeah, I will tell you, if you ever make it to Cincinnati, downtown Cincinnati, the Catholic Cathedral and City Hall, the two towers on those buildings are literally 75 yards apart from each other. And they have massive bells. City Hall has a set of Westminster chimes. Bottom line, the city sets their timer 2 minutes early. The church sets their 2 minutes late. So that's how they keep the bells from playing. I don't think that you're not so close that would be a problem. It would.
That's really ultimately where I'm at with it, that it's, call it $80,000 worth of expense that isn't gonna, if we do it, it's great. If we don't, then we're not changing anything. I'm a historic, like, I'm kind of geeked out about the whole
Yeah.
thing to where I would like for them to work, because I really think the historical aspect of it is they've been up there for 20 years. For them not to be used is silly.
I
You
agree.
know, I see it's 25, or it's gonna cost us $80,000 to get the bells and clocks and everything in proper working order.
But if we just do the clocks, it's still gonna probably be 50 grand because we still gotta move the electricity.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean,
everything else.
if you're gonna do it, you might as well do the bells, in my opinion.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
I'm just questioning whether we need to do it right now while we're doing the clock tower, or is it something that can wait till next year to get it in next year? I mean, can we even budget the money? Can we figure out, unless you want to say, if we can come up with the money and do it? I mean, I don't care, but I just, that's a lot of money, and like Amy says, we're only halfway through the year,
Right.
Kick this can down the road till next year, and
Yeah.
our projects are finishing this, and then, I mean, I think we ought to apply for the Rising Sun
Right,
Foundation.
I mean, that would be great if we can get the
If
money.
we can get $40,000 to go towards this project,
The,
let's do it.
If we're not gonna have to rely on scaffolding and stuff, the lift would be the worst scenario, in which I don't know what that would be, a day or whatever.
but at this point in time, the actual clock tower project, the scaffolding is going to be up through the end, it'd be up at the beginning of next year anyway, at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, if we wait till do it and, plan on getting the money and have it in to where we can do this, next year, there's probably a good chance the scaffolding is going to be there early in the year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we ought to just see if we can, apply for the Rising Sun, and if we can get some help on it, then it's easy for us to do it soon.
Okay?
Right.
So if we agree to
agree.
do this today, so if we go ahead and sign a contract today and get someone out to do the survey, so
Yeah.
then after the survey, so walk us through that. After the survey's done, what would come next?
We would do submittal drawings to you for all of the equipment that'll be included. And then, once those are signed off on, we would then get started on the
Okay, so basically, we could be out the money for the survey, and that would give us some time to figure out where the money's going, and if we need to wait till after the first of the year for it to start, that would not be a problem with you?
That would be fine, yeah.
Okay, I mean,
But I don't think we could apply for a grant for the Rising Sun Foundation when we already have intentions on signing a contract. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I don't
you
know
can't
how-
go
I
after
don't
the
know how that
fact
works.
And say, oh, we want to borrow $40,000, but we already signed a contract, even though we requested the grant funds. So like,
so if we were,
Well, I mean, I don't know why you couldn't, Mark. I mean, because you're just saying, like, we're gonna pay for this, but we'd like to have a little help, because we're not real sure where we're gonna get the money, but we gotta find it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I also don't think we're concerned about spending too much money, and we need to make sure that it's dedicated, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time signing this contract and then saying, well, we might get grant money, might pay for it this year, we might delay it till next year. I don't think that's very good budgeting. We
I
either
mean,
have,
because we did that with the comprehensive plan.
yeah.
Can we add it to our budget next year?
Yeah.
Yet?
I mean, if
Some
we
of it
try, if
anyway.
we apply for a grant, I mean, what's the timing on those grants? I mean, you say you got to do it, and they do it in October?
So you
Well-
turn it in October, Stan said,
And that's the other thing is too,
October, granted in
Yeah.
December.
who's gonna fill out the grant paper?
Who do we have?
all
We
that.
need-
We don't have anybody that does that on behalf of commissioners. Anyways.
How hard can it be?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I just put it on my paper to apply for it.
You can do that on our behalf?
I didn't figure neither of the three of you were going to do it.
I can help.
I appoint Jeff to sit in your office.
Why are you always picking on me?
I think I can do it.
You kind of offered, Jeff.
Not offered out.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of, I mean,
Put it together.
do we want to sign it and figure out whether, I
I
don't
think
know.
it's gonna need to be done, and we just will start, apply for Rising Sun, talk to council a little bit, see if we can throw some in the budget for next year. I don't see a problem with it. I think it'd be needed, to be
I
getting
mean,
it
I
going.
definitely think it needs to be done, just a matter of
Okay.
whether we can come up, how we come up with the money to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we look at our budget and we see that we still have $180-something thousand or $100,000 in edit funds, and go ahead and pull the trigger and pay for it.
Yep.
Is that fair to say?
That's fine with me.
Do we want to put it in the form of a motion?
I would like to put that to a form of motion
For option one?
for option one.
With the
Yes.
lights?
Roger wants the lights, I guess, so
We're gonna do it, you're gonna do it right.
do it all.
Exactly right.
So we're gonna
with optional light
The
kit.
LED lighting, which is listed below.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Get your site survey ready.
But we'll probably have to tweak this contract a little bit, just the,
Yeah.
I'd say the payments would be net 30 upon delivery of services, materials as they come.
Okay,
Submit a bill, get paid.
okay. I'll get the.
We will take donations.
We will take donations.
That's what I was saying, why not ask for people to donate towards this cause?
Yeah,
I think it would be neat.
GoFundMe.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, at this rate, you know, the main thing is that, I mean, any donations could go towards maybe we could open up a fund and have a county fund that any donations that go towards this project go to any future maintenance or anything on this.
Yes.
Right, I mean, so, and we can set that fund up because we're gonna use our funds to get the project done. But I would like it to be sustainable going forward to where, kind of like what we did with the baby boxes, donations got made, we have a separate fund off to the side that is specifically made.
And any donation that anybody comes in to give, I put into that fund.
Yeah.
So like, any maintenance that has to be done to the baby boxes, that's where the money comes from.
And we could do that for the bells, so like if anybody,
Clock tower.
you know, wants to, wants to donate in that behalf, you know, because there's going to be maintenance and things, because that's probably what happened, is it wasn't maintained for so many, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't maintained for so long.
Yep.
Somebody didn't feel like it, and next thing you know, it's an $80,000 expense to get it.
And we could sit there and have a big bronze plaque for the people who donated,
Yeah.
put in the tower.
So now, based on, us going ahead and agreeing to do this.
Yeah.
You said you've emailed Mark some information?
Jeff,
Yeah, okay. So I would like all three of us to be on the email.
Yeah.
Can you email us when you think your site surveyor guy will be here?
Yep.
And a time, I mean, just assuming that we had all the money laying right here to pay you, what your timeframe's
Okay.
going to be?
I'll
And then we will tweak it from there.
yep, I'll revise the quote to basically show that it'll be process, or progress payments.
Yeah.
With that first payment being the $1,300
Yeah.
and then.
So how long you think it'd be before your site guy comes? What,
About 30 to 45 days from the
Right,
time you
okay,
sign
yeah.
off on
Will
it.
you also CC me? Absolutely. Thank you.
I would like, is that something somebody would need to be with him to do other than, I mean, Craig would be with him, is that we need to, our maintenance guy, we just turn him loose, or what do we do?
We don't need anybody there, but I advise it, if a guy, maintenance is good, just so he'll point out what he's looking at or what he's doing. And certainly, your maintenance guy doesn't need to be there the whole time.
Okay.
But-
Is that a good opportunity for that person to point out where the electricity needs to be?
Absolutely,
That way that Craig would need to see
And-
that.
yes,
And the site person would be, the point of contact would be Craig.
yes,
So Craig would be who you would get the
Yeah.
schedule.
Okay, all right.
yeah. And one of the things that I was not able, when I was here with Chris in '23, I wasn't able to find the controls. I have absolutely no idea where they were, but our survey would probably trace and figure out where that is. I did find an electric panel that's in the tower. And again, where you all want the 870 controller, the old controller very may have just been taken out at some point. I don't know, I couldn't find it. But that site survey would be a good time to figure out where you all want that and get all that ancillary work in place as well.
So you're talking about the control box, where to place it?
Yeah.
Well, I would, we want to make that more convenient than what it used to be to wind it up.
Yes, exactly. We don't want people having to climb ladders.
Right.
I think is what we need is a hunchback.
Yeah.
Quasimodo?
That's my fantasy football name, I'm Quasimodo. Okay. But, yeah, okay, very good. I'll revise that quote. Your emails are on the website, I believe, so I'll
Yes.
pull that way, and I've got Amy's as well, so I'll get that tweaked and get that over to you in the next day or two.
All right, thank you.
Okay? Thanks for your time,
And these
guys.
prices will be locked in, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Will? I think it's fair to say the courthouse is going to be taken care of from top to bottom now.
August 23rd.
All right.
Do you have any questions, anything I can help with? I will do my absolute best to get all the information I have. I'm going to try to write a binder and put out everything in a to-go binder best I can.
So Will has submitted in writing, a formal resignation effective August 23rd, 2025, from Ripley County Communications.
Now, did you say you're taking another job? Or did you not say it? I thought you said.
Yes.
Is it with the county as well?
Yes, the paramedic position that was open then.
Okay, so you've already got that job, so they're fine with you starting on the 23rd, is that what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I met with Alex after the posting, and I'm just going to transfer over there. The 23rd is the pay period, so that
Okay.
will be the easiest, and then that gives time for to a new person to come in. I'll try to brief them, teach them as best I can, and then I'll still be reachable afterwards with any
So I think-
questions, comments.
You'll still be around even
Yeah.
after the.
Yeah, if I need to stop by and go over things, I'll be more than happy to.
So we need to advertise
Yes,
as soon as possible
yes.
for a
5 days internally.
5 days internally, and then probably need to get with Becky to do whatever we can do to get it out and about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we need, I think we probably ought to talk about his comp time, because we could let him accumulate some extra comp time.
Yeah,
That is interesting because, yes.
My goal is to burn 99% of it over the next month, as long as they're not training somebody, because it was a privilege to get more, so it seems unfair for you guys to have to pay me out for anything extra.
okay, great.
If you're
If you
willing.
could get it under, if you could get it to at least 80,
Oh,
that would
easily,
be amazing.
easily.
That way, I mean, 80 hours is what we say the handbook is. If you can get it under that, then we're
Right,
gonna do
so,
it
It's right about 100, so my goal, if I did the math correctly, I'll be right around 30 to 40. About 10 to 15 hours a week. Just do a day
Okay.
short or something.
Okay, great.
I just want to make sure that we don't, Alex don't take somebody on with all that comp time and she's not prepared to.
We'll have to pay him out of 911, and then he'll start over at EMS.
Yeah, and I don't want to burden the next
Okay,
person
so that's
with a lot
my
of-
question. So he
Yeah,
won't
wouldn't
go
have
in
to
with
redo
any
the
comp
budget,
time.
So.
Gotcha.
No,
my
because
goal is
what'll
to make it
happen
at
is
least-
he'll have to be paid out of the 911 budget, because
Okay.
that's where he collected it all at. So he'll be paid out there, and then he'll start new at, and not that he would start new with like his vacation or anything. I'm assuming you're going to roll that with
Yeah.
Alex, correct? But comp time will have to be paid out.
So you're going to use up whatever comp time you have, get it below 80, and then when you transfer, they will pay you out for whatever comp time you have left.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
just
don't,
make
I don't want to burden the next person with having to do transfers and things to cover it, so I'm going to try to get as close to zero as I can.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
mean, the only thing we'll have to pay him out is his comp time. Everything else will be on
I
the carry.
just want to make sure he knows what's going on and we all agree to it.
Because he's going from full-time to full-time, so
Yep.
it's not a big deal to carry that, as long as Alex knows. And then, but his comp time has to be paid out of that 911 budget, because that's where he collected it at.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate your service.
Yep,
And
thank
taking
you.
the stab
Appreciate
at doing this position. And I'm just glad that you're still, as well, have the opportunity to stay with the county, because I think your experience and dedication to public safety is pretty good. And it's great, it's great that, what you've done, I mean, with the Summon Fire Department and everything, so.
Yeah, I think this back page with what you've accomplished, I think is a good reminder of what you've done in 8 months that you've been here, whatever it is, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not going anywhere, so if anything pops up, questions, you got my cell phone number, call me, I'll help however I can.
Yep. All right, well, we get the joys of hiring.
And I am going to leave that to you three to call Becky, one of the three of
Okay.
you, because I have to leave right after this meeting. I have a state golf conference
Uh-huh.
in Indy this week, so I've got to get to Indy
Okay.
after this meeting.
So,
Well,
one question, I do have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So there's a position open now, right?
Correct.
So what are we gonna do about getting somebody lined up for that? We're gonna hold off is it even possible to hold off till we get somebody new in his position? Or are we going to try to get some people lined up to interview, to where he can interview them, or
Let's say as long as he's
My goal
here.
was to fulfill the position.
you're gonna try to get somebody in there and get them hired?
There's no
Okay.
internal candidates, so Becky just posted it public, and I have 2 external right now. So by the end of the week, we'll see if we have anything else, and then start interviews. My goal is
Okay,
to get
that's fine
somebody
with
in
you
there
guys?
hired,
Yep.
so there's
All right.
staff is short.
Yep.
does Becky need his job description to advertise internally?
No, wait a minute, you said there's no internal candidates. Did she do the 5-day posting?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
good.
It was last week, yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
But does she need
I was lost in
information
that.
from him?
I'm assuming that it was updated when the position was vacant the last time.
I'm assuming it probably wasn't.
Oh, okay. Because, yeah, it'd be nice to, he kind of has one here.
Okay, well, I just wondered why he was here.
And it's one, how you guys want to approach it, how you see the position, because it can be fulfilled in several different ways.
The last time that I have anything for 911 is from 21,
And-
job description.
And, Will, I know that you had made a suggestion about maybe us merging or consolidating. I think we're going to try to take a stab at it again on our own, and then if we can't get it straightened out, I think maybe we should look at some different ways to
Yeah.
approach it.
Maybe an option.
But I think we'll give it one more try
Fair enough.
before we kind of, go down that, because that's giving up some, we just have to see how it looks. It's kind of giving up, it's changing things to where, but if we can't do it on our own, then it might be worthwhile just to, if employees and everybody within 911 dispatch can't play nicely in the sandbox and all get along, then maybe it's time that they might be working for Batesville or a different county.
Fair enough, reasonable enough, and whatever I can do, just let me know.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will.
thank you. Good luck.
So I'm going to just forward this unofficial email to Becky and tell her that we got his email or his official resignation today, to go ahead and post that job.
Okay.
And that way
Yep.
she knows it right now.
That's good.
Yep, let's get the ball rolling.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll see what happens as far as applicants go, and then
Roger's on the ball today.
come up with the next plans after that. So, let's start signing paperwork, so Amy,
So can one of the three of you do that with Becky?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, thank you, Roger.
thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Have a great day.
I think I'm gonna be taking a rest.
I'm gonna take a quick break.
I'm sure people were like, oh, is she that one?
Waiting for 2 hours.
Sit too long and get stiff.
The rain split
Gosh.
in Miss Bates.
Look how young you are.
That's all right.
Yeah.
People just heard that I mowed yard yesterday.
I would have moved her yesterday, but it rained at my house like off and on.
I saw a blurb of red coming through last night that went through Osgood on the radar.
I will have my work computer with me if you guys do need me for anything this week. I try to take it just in case there's an emergency or something around here. If I need to get on it.
Yeah. If I can get a copy of those signed minutes, I'll just email those back to John Knoll.
Well, if you can just remind me, like, so when we leave here, I'll make you a copy before,
That's fine, I can scan them.
yeah,
I'll follow you down,
yeah.
pick them up at your office.
Did you get his resignation? Does that,
I got one.
does that have to be made, you'll file that, or do you have to file
Yeah,
it?
it'll be put in his personnel file.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we got everything we need.
Yep. I did text Mary McCarty to see if she knew of any grants out there through her that might help us with that historical bell
Okay,
clock.
all right.
There may not be anything through her, but I did text to ask, just, you never know.
Right, yeah, that'd be great.
I did tell Roger that I did email Mary McCarty also, or didn't email her, I texted her, to ask her if there was any grants out there that could help with the historical value of the bells and the clock.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if there is.
I mean, it's
but
worth
worth a try.
taking a stab at it.
One thing I did have to change on your guys' budget was, the mental health. When I met with the DLGF, they gave me the, total of what the mental health is supposed to be this year. We have to pay it, so.
I want to just stall a second until Roger gets back. Is this like the auditors conference or something?
Yeah. Well, there was so many law changes with the taxing stuff. I wasn't gonna go, but with all the changes with the taxing stuff, I have to go. Because I can't keep up with it.
All right. John, something before we get to, I think that we need to address is that when we're in this public meeting and and council members and other elected officials should not be texting us and asking us questions and things like that. I mean, is that true? Is that not? We're not allowing anyone else in the public?
I don't really think that we have a situation where, I mean, it's a public meeting. There's no specific right of the public to actually speak. They can observe, they can record, they can listen. If they want to be placed on the agenda, they need to ask to be
Yeah.
placed on the agenda. But I don't know that we're really set up to verbally.
Well,
receive
I understand that, but
comment.
there's a group text going on here to where we're being asked questions by council members as we're in this public meeting.
And it's not really a public text, I mean, are we
No,
allowed, do we?
no.
And we're not getting anyone in the
It is
public.
a public text, but that's why I thought maybe I should say it out loud.
That's what I'm getting at. Should
Yeah.
it be addressed, or what, I don't know what we should do. I don't know how to go about doing it.
I think if they have questions, they probably need to be here present for it, number one. Number two, because it
We're
would
not
be.
giving the forum to anybody else just
I
because
know,
they don't
that's-
have our
that's the-
cell phone numbers. That's my only.
Right. And we don't have it set up to where people can just call in and do it. And I don't know that we want to turn it into
Yeah.
a call-in
And-
type of a
and-
show.
And they're valid questions, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know, is it legal to sit here and say, all right, well, so-and-so has these questions, I'm going to answer these questions on the public's behalf when no one else in the public can, because they're not texting me or any of the
Well,
other.
without doing some detailed research on it, I can't say for sure, but it seems like, I think I understand what you're saying, and I believe you're correct. My gut instinct says, if this is not something that's afforded to the public in general, shouldn't be afforded to anybody else.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. All right, we can.
And the
say-
same would cut for them if anybody's texting to them, like with questions during the council meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's something important enough that you feel that the question should be asked, show up. Or reserve that for another time, come to the next meeting and say, I have some questions.
Yeah. Okay.
July 7th meeting.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of July 7th?
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
July 8th, executive session. I know I need to send these to you guys, I completely forgot, but it pretty much just says that we had an executive session, and it was, we met with Will Sunderman, then for about 911 personnel.
Do we have a motion to approve that meeting of July 8th?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made, and I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I was just saying that.
Do we have a motion to pay the claims?
Make a motion.
Payroll.
Roger, slow up so I can make one. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
That's all I have.
Aye.
Fairs this week?
Yes, it is. It sure is.
And if, I will throw this out here, if anybody has any, that is watching the meeting, has any questions, I'll be at the county fair at 6 o'clock tomorrow in the Republican booth, and you'd be more than welcome to stop by and ask me any questions.
Yeah.
I'll be there as well. Make sure you give them the right answer.
Fair enough.
What is the right answer? Come call Jeff Volz?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wasn't invited to go.
If we can't figure it out, then, if we can't figure it out, call Jeff Volz. Cell phone number is.
See, there you are, picking on me again.
Of course.
Dang gone. I volunteered for enough already this week.
Well, we got you coming down here for, meeting the bell guy. Mowing. I'm gonna write on here, please weed eat.
Edge the sidewalk.
Edge the sidewalk. And we had that one guy last year mow grass and he blew grass all over everybody's
Car.
car.
That stuff don't come off easy. I had it happen to me once.
No, but grass is pretty sticky, believe me.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Oh, so this was the, quick question. Amy, is there any of the ARP money or the American Relief Act money after the $17,000 here? That's not committed?
I don't believe so.
So on the 911 director's job, does it have to be posted internally for 5 days?
They already did.
No, that was the other position.
No, that's for Will. He just officially resigned today, so
Okay,
the other one was for a position, a supervisor on second or third shift or
okay,
whatever.
that one should be.
So it needs to be for 5 days, and then,
Maybe I misunderstood him. So when he said there are no internal candidates, that's for the other position?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry. In that case, yeah, Will should be posted for 5 days.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going to stick with the way the handbook reads, which we should,
And there's nothing that, I mean,
But can we go ahead and post outside at the same time? And if there's somebody in 5 days internally, we would pick them first and go through them.
But just because
Just to save
somebody
time.
applies internally doesn't mean that they will get it.
Right, right.
No, Mark, there's not much money, maybe $600.
I mean, it
Really?
just tried to speed the
Well,
process.
we did pretty
up.
good then.
Yeah.
If there was,
Because I can, I mean,
Unless the town of Seven doesn't use all of their money, or the Hoosier Hills.
we may not even
doesn't
get
use all
somebody
their
hired by
But
August
Hoosier Hills
23rd, is what I'm getting at, if we
Yeah,
kind
no.
of wait.
I know.
And how much did they have requested?
327,000. But they filled out all the paperwork to use it. They haven't turned in any claims for it
But,
yet.
one thing about it.
They were one of the very first ones to ask for it.
They were.
Are we going to advertise Dr. Welch's position outside of the county website? Because it's not filled yet,
Is it currently on the county website?
I think. They talked like they wasn't taking it off at the meeting they had, but they never went outside of that except word of mouth. And the person I understand it's going to be is somebody that sits on that board. It's going to be maybe trying it out.
Would that be one of the doctors that's already on there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Martini?
I have no
Did they
idea.
not say?
So did we never really made a decision on the appointment.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. So what, the requirement by law was that they can bring us up to 5 names. Jason Smith in the email said that they didn't think that they could find 5 names, so they supplied us with 1. So
What's this regarding?
this is regarding the appointment to the, Lynn Flutterman is resigning or no longer wants to be reappointed. She's a Democrat that is on, and that fits the parameter, but is leaving. So they brought us a new name of an individual that fits the same, an attorney that is a Democrat that works, so, but it's just one name. So we have to decide, do we accept it? Do we not accept it? Do we tell them to go back and get more?
Now, did they ask for proof of being a Democrat?
I mean, someone had to check, I mean,
I don't know. I know how people are, they don't always complete their jobs. And somebody else has to check, double check.
I mean, the interesting thing is, I believe the individual works for Decatur County, prosecutor, which I know he's not a Democrat.
Yeah, it would be awful funny.
I'm trying to, I guess the name is Joseph Miller?
He was in Kellerman's law office for a while. He did private practice, public defender work around here.
Yeah, he did work in Batesville at one time, I think, and then he went there. Does he live in Ripley County?
They said he lived in Batesville, but I may
Yeah,
be wrong.
but Batesville could be, there's a line in there.
Doesn't say. He's got to, I mean, he's got to live in the county if he's going to be appointed to it.
Yeah.
He would fit the attorney with expertise in health matters, parameters. And I believe the person would have to be a
Resident.
Democrat.
Jesus, because it has to be, because we already got 4 Republicans on the board. It has to be a Democrat.
Yeah, I believe it has to, because we're replacing.
It's possible they reached out and just couldn't find anybody interested in serving, that fit any of those criteria for health board member appointments.
Did I do good this time, Roger? I miss any?
Haven't missed one yet.
Great.
So, I mean, we can do whichever. I mean, we can either deny it and say bring more names back, or say, hey, have the individual come in here and talk to us, or, I mean, what is that person, what do they make a year, Amy, roughly? $1,000, something like that?
I was gonna say it's more than that.
Let me, before we change that, I want to make that, with him, he's not an elected official. He's just an employee of the county as a deputy prosecutor. I don't think that would violate dual office holding or anything like that.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
He is deputy prosecutor,
$1,400 a year.
yeah, deputy prosecutor with the Decatur County Prosecutor's Office.
I'll double check, but before I switch out of this, your question, Jeff, here's the way our employment handbook reads. Job openings will be sent to all departments and employees that have an email account with the county posted on the employee portal at ripleycounty.com, www. For 5 working days. At the end of 5 working days and no internal candidate is chosen, the job will be posted on the public portal of the county website at ripleycounty.com.
So we can't save 5 days.
Well, I'd get it posted, get the 5 days going, and then if you don't have an internal candidate, follow up immediately putting it on
Yeah.
the public website.
I was gonna ask him if he would refer anybody that's working there, but I didn't get to it. It's already in the department.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if people internally apply.
So we need to go internally for 5 days.
Yep.
Yes, 5 working days. So if you get it posted today, by Monday morning, next week at this time, you can
Yeah,
post
so
it
we just ask.
publicly.
just
If
to
you don't
roll
have
it, I
an
think
internal
we should-
candidate,
We should apply or have it advertised both ways, you know, do the 5 days and then we get 2 or 3 applicants and
Still go
wait,
ahead and
and
advertise.
still advertise outside.
Okay, because I
Okay.
was wondering if we ought to get our meeting set up to do interviews.
I mean,
Or you'll
we'll
wait.
evaluate it in a week and see how many applicants we got and what the next steps are. Going back to the health board, what do you guys want to do? Accept, not accept, or tell them to bring more names? Or have the guy come in here and tell us, or meet him? I don't,
I mean, I watched the meeting online. I mean, I seen him come up and present, or they talked to him. I don't want to get into micromanaging the health board. I mean, he seemed like a reasonable person to me. I mean, and I don't know that they can come up with 5 people. I just think we need to get people, get the board filled with people that want to be there.
yeah.
And
I'll be honest with you, it's going to be hard to find 5 Democrats
Yeah.
in Ripley County.
Yeah.
I'll say it like it is.
FYI, there's no dual office holding issue. If he were actually a prosecuting attorney, the prosecuting attorney,
I'm just glad.
or
we
if he
have
were the
somebody-
health officer.
I'm glad he's
which-
willing to do it. I
So
don't
he's
have a
okay.
problem accepting his appointment.
Do we have a second?
Have a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
I
now go,
have the paperwork.
okay, now we go back to the next question. Dr. Welch's position. I think we ought to ask Becky, I don't know if that directive should come from us or whether it should come from the board, but I think we can make the statement that if they're not going to if they're only going to advertise individually, that it would make sense that it gets advertised in a different form. So I don't know.
The way I understood it, they did it on our website and word of mouth.
And Becky has a way to put it out.
Becky said Amy had a way to put it out on
Like
something you
Zip
did
or
for the
Zillow
maintenance
or
man.
something?
I mean, I can put it out on, what is that I put that maintenance job out when Craig applied for the maintenance position.
Yeah,
I don't think we should do anything without the board knowing what we're doing. I think they need to drive, this is actually their job.
Yeah.
Or to actually get this going.
Yeah.
And if, if we can help them, we will, but
Okay.
I guess Jason's president.
Yeah, so Jason Smith,
I think we need to make sure he's on board with how we're doing it and he's prepared, because we don't want to put down, we don't want the resumes, do we?
no.
They
Yeah.
should go to him.
Yeah,
So I just think we need to push him a little bit to make sure he's getting done, however they need to do it.
so
I
let's
think it
say
needs
that,
advertised out,
The little
and
highlighted.
it should have been done.
I think is where it needs a signature.
so we need to tell them to have them
That's right.
get with Amy and see if they advertise this thing out further,
If
I
they,
guess.
yeah,
But why do they have to get with me? They
Right.
can do it on their own.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, we just need to tell him they
I mean,
need.
why do I need to advertise for the health board?
Yeah,
When
that's
they're,
kinda
they're the ones hiring.
I only brought it up because they wasn't doing it. It's been how many months? That's why I hesitated on the second. I'm about tired of sitting here waiting on people to do their jobs. I wasn't going to say that online, but I just did.
I think it's evident or clear that they're dragging their feet, in my opinion.
I do my job, and I don't wanna do anybody else's.
I know. I know. I just, after a while, you just try
You
to
know-
find another way to make things work.
And that's the thing is, it's like, we have this, I mean, they still, to this day, have not brought us Dr. Welch's reappointment,
Nope.
That's correct.
okay? And we've talked about it in multiple meetings, and I'm to the point to where if Dr. Welch is their guy, they need to bring their guy back and say, Dr. Welch wants reappointment, because right now, there's this vacant spot that's just not being refilled. That drives me crazy, because that's how people just never get reappointed back to spots. And that's how you don't know where these appointments are at. And if Dr. Welch is their guy and saying for this long or for this term, like, I don't know, when's the term up? Do we know? The
Well, it'll
term
be
is
4 years to
January
begin-
1st? He wasn't appointed the last time.
No, right, he's not been reappointed. And it was the beginning of the year when we went over this, so he had 4 years.
Yeah,
They're assuming he has 4 years, even though we said no.
well,
I think it's his choice to continue to serve until someone else is appointed. So it's kind of
Right, but if
It's open.
people are dragging their feet trying to get somebody, I guess supposedly there is, but we never heard a name.
which that doesn't, to me, if they've not brought a name, then it doesn't sound very, but if it's Dr. Welch, I don't understand why the health board isn't coming back and saying, we want Dr. Welch reappointed. And then we can decide whether we
Correct.
agree with that or not. Like, who is their person? If it's somebody else or they want to learn, then I just don't like this where we just don't know because someone's not bringing us information or bringing us what they're actually doing. And that's where it comes down to where Jeff, are they dragging their feet on purpose so that way we don't deny him because they think we are, because if we do deny him the second time, then he's gone. I do know that's part of the law, right?
that's
Well, he's
correct.
not necessarily gone, he just can't reapply again.
Right.
He can still continue to do it until they get somebody,
If he would choose,
if he would choose to.
you're right.
But I can tell you firsthand, that's not going to happen.
But on the other side of it is we sit here and we're doing nothing. Like if it's Dr. Welch, bring him back and tell us, this is our guy. Stand by your guy. Don't stand in limbo land. That's my point. If they can't find anybody, then and it's Dr. Welch, well then come tell us that. Let's be open and honest about what the scenario is here, instead of just hoping that maybe nothing will change. I don't know. So
Nope,
I'm
maybe we'll
saying
forget
here, I
about it.
guess, Joseph Miller, if you're going to sit there, make decisions and take the lead on getting the health department, or the health board moved in the right direction.
Yep, get their act together.
So there's my rant for the day, apparently.
You didn't get that loud.
Nope.
You did good.
We voted on this, so I will go ahead and sign this on behalf of the appointment, since it's already voted on. It's a one signature.
So can we request that Jason is the president of the health board, right?
Yes.
So we can request him to be at our next meeting and be prepared to talk about what we're going to do going forward on this job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they need help finding,
Right.
advertising this
Let's get him-
thing?
We'll get him here next week,
Yeah.
and we will, before we try to post any jobs, we'll
Yeah.
ask him if he needs some help, where they're at, and just be prepared to talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Do we need to recess to go to the courthouse or adjourn?
I don't think that needs to be part of the meeting, does it? I think we can.
Not unless you think there'd be some decision-making on, but if it's basically just to take a look at some of the work that's been
Yeah.
done and
Yeah. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.